Yo! What's good? What's good, party people? What's good? I'm excited this morning. But I guess y'all are gonna say, man, Uncle Freezy, man, you were excited every morning, man. Like when do you not come in here excited about something? Boss, I'm a Knicks fan, right? I'm a Knicks fan, man. I'm always excited about a bunch of different things, right? I'm excited. So for one, so we're gonna have um, our friend Jonathan Macri from Knicks Film School on later on today, probably in about 25 to 30 minutes, right? So we're gonna have him on, right? I'm excited about the future of the New York Knicks, also, right? Kane Jerry was good. SJ3 was good. J.R. Martin was good. Joe Madden was good. Chef NYK is in the building. What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Man, I'm excited about a bunch of stuff. I want to talk to y'all about something before we get deep into our Knicks conversation. Man, my beard is looking extra gray today. I'm not for sure what the deal is with that. Jason Alba was good. Was good. The beard is looking extra gray today. That probably means that dye I'm using is not working. Bam! Clyde Frazier, Keith Hernandez, y'all told me it would work. You liars. Clyde Frazier, you're my hero, man. You told me that stuff would work. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Nick G in the place to be. What's good? Nick G, that Gonzaga point guard, though. I already know you knew I was gonna go there as soon as I saw you, right? Right. Whatever. 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 So here is my thing, right? Here's what I want to talk to y'all about. Hey, what's good, Joe Madden? What's good, Joe Madden? So here's what I want to talk to y'all about before everybody comes on and the conversation morphs into wherever the conversation goes. Right. So for one, I understand what the podcast setting is. You lay out some subjects, people talk to that subject, and it keeps order. Right. This podcast is kind of not like that. Robbie Cano was good. Was good. I understand with the podcast. Listen, one of the people that I respect in the game, or a couple of people, Joe Budden and Bill Simmons. And if I can have a joint like to have the success of a Bill Simmons, man, listen, I did something right. That's kind of what I'm shooting for, right? The only thing is I want to take the whole crew along with me, right? I'm gonna have all of y'all come on that ride. We go on that ride together, right? That's what I want. That's my dream. That's way down the road. Right now, I want to talk this talk the way y'all like to talk to be talked, right? That's what I'm worried about right now. That's my main concern. That's my highest priority. I want to talk that talk. I want to talk that Knicks talk the way y'all like that Knicks talked to be talked. Mo, what's good? So Mo, that's our guy. Mo talking about Bill Simmons got nothing on us. No, Bill Simmons has nothing on us. Right, except the super successful podcast and almost empire. But aside from that, he has nothing on us. Aside from that, he has nothing on us. Right? So here's a Illmatics. What's good? Illmatics is in the building. Illmatics is in the building. So again, of course, I want to take this thing to a place where guys like me don't usually take things to, you know what I'm saying? I want to take this thing to a different place, right? I want to continue to grow this thing and expose it to more and more people so that we can continue to grow at the super fast rate we're growing, and not only just grow, but bring quality content to those New York Knicks fans that, you know, deserve quality. Y'all deserve quality, right? I mean, that's just what it is. Yeah, hey, Cornerstone Kev. Yeah, the success is crazy, but it's not just because of me. It's because of a lot of others. What's good, Brandon? What's happening? What's happening? So I'm looking at this beard, man. This beard is looking mighty gray. Clyde Frazier, Keith Hernandez, you told me that stuff would work. Keith Hernandez, do I come see you about getting a refund? Guzman, what's good? Hey, what's good, Goose? You did a great job last night, man. You did. Hey, y'all did a great job last night, man. The conversation, it kind of got bogged down a little bit by semantics, but once we got out of that mode of being just a heckler, that conversation was kind of dope in my opinion. And I'm going to continue. Juju, what's good? 0.5. What is good? What's good? So this is what I want to lay out for y'all. And some of y'all probably heard this a little bit early. I kind of got into it a little teeny bit, but I really wanted to get into it big time, right? Okay. I want to get into it big time. Danny Landis is in the building. What's good? Dripmore is in the building. Friday Vibes is correct. I'm off, boss. I'm off today. And I hear y'all telling jokes. Oh, Uncle Freezy, you off every day. I hear y'all, man. Not like that kind of off. Y'all know what I'm saying. So I don't have to go report to anybody today. I don't have people reporting to me today. I have a off day. Right? Y'all hear me? I might stay on this thing. I might be on Blorence Tears. I might be on Blorence Tears 10 hours a day. You never know. Hey, Dripmore, we're going to try to provide some quality content, man, to help you get through your grind, though. We're going to try to provide something to help you get through your... Oh, boy. Look who's awake. Look who is awake and had their coffee and their Boston Terrier. Stephen Fox is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all put some thumbs up in the chat for Stephen Fox, man. Y'all put your hands together for the point guard of the night shift, Stephen Fox. Can't do without you, bro. Can't do it without you. Right? So here's my thing. I want to get to this point, man. And I want to put it out there and get some of y'all's take on it. Okay? Don't shoot me down, though. Don't shoot me down. All right? Don't shoot me down. Listen to what I'm gonna say. Hey man, I appreciate those salutes and thumbs up for Stephen Fox, y'all. Salute to Stephen Fox. Very, very important to the Lawrence Tears Network. Very important to the Lawrence Tears Network. Hey, Danny Landis, I'm gonna get to that, but I got something that I want to share with y'all. So the Knicks are 10-13, right? 10-13. I think that's the record, right? Let me check to be sure. Is the record 10-13? Let me go to standings and hope. Okay, so the Knicks are 10-13. The Knicks are 10-13, right? And hear me out on this, because I'm not going to go too long. Our special guest, Jonathan Macri, is scheduled to be here at 9:15. Man, I'm super excited at the opportunity of having him back on the channel to share some wisdom and insight with us. So when Macri comes on, it's going to be a special time for me. Something I know I'm going to get a kick out of. Right? So the Knicks are 10-13. 49 games left on the schedule. Right? I'm projecting the Knicks to go 26-23 the rest of the way. Right? Yep, you heard me. You heard me. Don't spit coffee on your computer to monitor at work. You heard me. I expect the Knicks to go 26-23 the rest of the way. Right? And what that's going to do is give us a record of 500 for the season. Y'all don't sound excited. And the chat didn't start bumping. All right, so let me say it one more time. The Knicks are 10-13 at the moment. At the moment, the Knicks are 10-13. Right? I expect the Knicks to go. So there are 49 games left. And I expect, out of those 49 games, I expect the Knicks to go 26-23. Right? If that happens, the Knicks will have a 500 record. And the chat doesn't look, y'all don't look impressed. Y'all don't look surprised. Right? Y'all are not blown away by what I just said. I expect y'all's energy to get up. It's a Friday. Uncle Freezy is excited. I got a very special guest coming in. I made a bold prediction that's going to lead to a deep conversation. And I need to have some energy in the chat. I need to have some energy in the virtual chat. Get those likes up too. Right? So here's the reason why. And bear with me. So here's the reason why the Knicks going 36 and 36 is important. Okay? Here's why it's important. There are a bunch of important things about us going 36 and 36. But I need for y'all to stay with me. For some of y'all, I need for y'all to buckle your seatbelt because I'm going to say a couple of things, and it's going to be unfamiliar to a lot of y'all, and counter to what you normally hear from Knicks content creators. So here's the thing. I'm projecting the Knicks go 36 and 36. What will actually happen is probably somewhere in that vicinity. Maybe 2 games under, 2 games over, whatever. Right? Right. So here's the thing. I'm predicting 36 and 36. Here's why it's important. Okay. This is the reason why it's important. For one, it gets your team into the playoffs. And I can hear the sucking of teeth all the way here. Y'all are like, oh man, we knew that already. Right. But what you didn't know is the importance of our young team making the playoffs. Not the play-in situation, not the play-in scenario. That's not what we want. We don't want the play-in scenario. We don't want the play-in scenario. We want to be firmly entrenched in the playoff seeding. Right? We want to secure a playoff spot. And hear me out. You want to secure a playoff spot with games left in the season. You want your Knicks, say with 5 games left to go in the regular season, to knock off a team, whoever it is. Say it's the Orlando Magic. You want the Knicks to knock off the Orlando Magic, right? And have a sense something special is going to happen, right? And this is just an example. Or the Orlando Magic is just an example, right? So you want the Knicks to knock off the Orlando Magic, go to the locker room, and not shower, not go home, not get on their phone, right? But you want them to sit around in the locker room and watch other teams play that night and lose and realize that they clinched a playoff spot. Right? Why is that special? Why is that special, right? Why is it special for a young team to sit around and have camaraderie, have this sense something special is going to happen to them, right? And then it does. Say, for instance, the Cleveland Cavaliers lose to the Chicago Bulls that night or something wild. And ESPN comes across that the New York Knicks have clinched a playoff spot for the first time since such and such. Y'all are going to be like, so what? They can do that in their car. No, it's not important for you to do it in your car. It's not important for 15 dudes to experience that in 15 different places. For the coaching staff to experience that in the coach's office, and the players to experience that whatever they experience that. It's important for the entire organization to experience that together. Right? So it's important for this New York Knicks team that have been LOL Knicks since Roy Hibbert blocking Melo's dunk. since the Miami Heat trapping Jeremy Lin, since Amari Stoudemire busting his hand against a fire extinguisher. We've been LOL Knicks for that long. LOL Knicks. And don't deny this thing. Don't try to deny this thing like we're not LOL Knicks and blah blah blah. Yeah. We're we were LOL Knicks before this season, right? It's important for this Knicks team, for the Frank Ntilikinas who had been through 1,000 coaches in 1,000 years, to finally get some taste of success. Even though he wasn't a major contributor, he needs to feel some level of success, some progress. It's important for Dennis Smith Jr. to feel some level of success. Julius Randle, 3 different teams, 3 organizations of however many coaches to experience a level of success, right? ESPN or whatever outlet you watch. I don't care what outlet you watch. I don't care. And I don't even want to give them shine on this network, right? What I want to do is tell you that it's important for these young players to get a taste of success, and not baby food, super blended success, like sneaking into the number 10 seed playoff and then getting the dog walked on them, and then they miss the playoffs. No, not that. I ain't talking about that. That's not enough. That's not enough. The 10 seed is not enough. The playing game is not enough for a franchise that has struggled this much over the years. It's not enough. I'll tell you what is enough, though. What is enough is them sitting around waiting to clinch, and a team behind them loses, and they officially clinch a playoff spot. Up Top Media, what's good? Keyshawn, what's good? Salute there. Salute to the chat, y'all. Salute to the chat. I promise you, I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere with this, right? All right, that's my guy right there. So it's important for the Knicks to be in a situation where they clinch, where they get to watch the fruits of their labor, right? And so why is it important? Why is it important for the Knicks to clinch a playoff spot as opposed to being in the play-in game scenario? And it's because you don't want the Knicks to get a raw deal. You don't want to get like the Portland game. We got a raw deal in Portland. Y'all remember that? The guy calls it whatever, the thing with Julius Randle after the game. They say they were wrong, but it doesn't change the fact that we lost because of referees. Right? It doesn't change that. It doesn't change that fact that we lost because of referees. Right? We don't deserve that. We don't deserve that, man. Hey, look who it is.
What's going on, my man? How you doing?
Hey, I'm well, brother. How are you?
No complaints. It's a Friday, which is good. Teams 10-13, which is good. It's good for us. I'm all things are good. How about you?
Hey, man. So I'm concerned for your safety.
Oh, why? What did I do now?
So I was watching you and Cohen, and like this roll of paper towel just jumped off the shelf out of nowhere.
Did you actually see it in the background? Because I couldn't.
No, I saw your reaction.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's craziness, man. I mean, this is an old house. It's. I think this house was built like 70 years ago. So, you never know.
Right.
Nothing would shock me.
Hey, so I have a bunch of questions, right? But I
Yeah,
don't
sure.
want to. I really didn't want to get into like a Q&A. What I like to do, man, is the last time you were on, man, the chat loved, I guess, the way that we conversed.
Oh, okay, that's great.
Yeah. So, but I will ask you this, and so I just went on a rant a few minutes ago, about why it's important for this Knicks team to make the playoffs, and the reason why I say that, right, is this, and I'll share my thoughts with you in the chat. So first of all, chat, what I'd like to do, man, is y'all welcome Macri back to the show. If y'all could throw some welcomes in the virtual chat, that'll be super dope, right? But so Macri, so this is my belief. I believe the Knicks' lack of development for not just the young guys, but people that come here in general, right, is because we hadn't played enough high leverage games, right? We hadn't played enough important games that bring out the best in our players, and to expose some of the guys' weaknesses so that they'll know what to work on in the offseason. Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm telling the chat that I believe the Knicks making the playoffs this season is super important, because what it does is it gets us in a situation where we see our young guys, Obi, Quickly, RJ, Randle, in high leverage games, so that we know who's a piece to build around and who is not.
I mean, I think Scott Perry agrees with you. He's been preaching that since the day he came here, and Tom Thibodeau definitely agrees with you, because that's his whole thing. His motto is like, if the minutes that you're getting a player minutes doesn't matter if those minutes don't getting minutes don't matter if the minutes don't matter. I don't know if that makes sense. But at the same time, I do think that there is also a balance, because, and like Mike Vorkunov for The Athletic, he wrote something to this effect, like, where's the line, right? Where's the line between when a guy is not, like, if a guy's not seeing any time, I think there's some, like, whatsoever. I think there's some thought to, like, well, it doesn't really matter what the team is doing. If he's not seeing any on-court action, then his development is going to stagnate. And I think that's a reasonable position to take. And I think, the best organizations are able to toe that line. I mean, the Raptors are like the shining example in terms of, but at the same time, even with guys like Van Fleet and Siakam, they were shuttling those guys up and down from their G League constantly.
Right.
And we're not talking about guys who don't have ability. I mean, Fred Van Fleet's in the All-Star conversation this year. Pascal Siakam made the All-NBA team. They're doing it now with Chris Boucher. Like, your teams
OG
are able. OG
Anunoby
is another great one. Like, he was. Right. Well, I mean, he wasn't playing also because of injury issues, but like, he was kind. Norm Powell was in and out of the rotation over the years. That dude was a massive contributor last season. So, like, good organizations, even the I'll give you another one. I mean, the other gold shining example, the Spurs, right? The Spurs, Lonnie Walker's rookie year. I mean, I don't know what Lonnie Walker averaged in terms of minutes per game. I know it wasn't a lot. I think Keldon Johnson played a bit last year. Again, it wasn't a ton. And yet and you see what those players are doing now for San Antonio. So good organizations get this right. I believe the Knicks think they can be that level of organization where even if a guy is not getting minutes in the rotation, he can still be developing. But it's really hard, and I don't think many organizations do it well. Whether they are able to do it is a different story. But to your point, I think where this franchise is right now, I think that's a risk they have to take, especially since, like, you know, that not everybody's going to get a lifeboat.
Right.
If you're good enough, if you're Emmanuel Quickly, right, and you're helping the team win, then there's no concern for you.
Right.
If you're Kevin Knox and you're kind of still kind of a one-trick pony, and then that trick starts to subside and you don't earn minutes, like, hey, listen, man, like what? That's what I really want to add for the fans, I guess, who are like, this is crazy going for the playoffs with Kevin Knox sitting on the bench. Like, what are you really missing on? What are you missing out on? Like, you're
Right.
missing out on the potential that Kevin Knox is what? I don't know. Maybe
We
you've
don't
missed out
know.
on the opportunity to develop an eighth or ninth man. Like, what are we expect? Like, do people really think like Kevin Knox sitting on the bench right now? We're somehow stagnating or retarding the possibility that he becomes like the fourth or fifth best player on a contender? Like,
No.
that's
Right.
not happening.
No,
So like,
that's not the case.
it's not the case. So, like, everything with life and in basketball, it's a risk reward proposition. So I'm not saying you're not risking something by sticking Knox on the bench. I'm not saying you're not risking something by having Obi Toppin, for instance, play only 12 minutes a game right now. But the notion that like we're doing irreparable damage to our franchise when the benefit is the potential to make a run and get these guys, like you were saying, real playoff experience or even playing game experience.
Right. Right.
To me, if you look at the NBA and you look at the teams that win and you look at what works, like, I'm sorry, to me that argument doesn't hold water.
Right.
So I'm all for making a playoff run.
Right. And so my biggest thing is this. In terms of guys developing, it's going to be hard to have young kids, especially multiple young kids, develop at a high level all at once. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen because the kids won't develop together, and then plus you don't see playoff teams that have a lineup of all kids.
And
right?
I mean, it's a once in a blue moon situation with like Durant, Harden, and Westbrook, or if you want to throw Embiid and Simmons when they were both finally healthy. But like those are once in a, like, that's not the norm. Yeah.
Right. So what people forget is the why there's a draft in the first place. Like, the draft is basically there to backfill your roster. You know what I'm saying? The draft, that's what draft, and then free agents is basically to bring in guys that can contribute. And so what we do is we watch, say, a guy like we watch two franchises get lucky. It's like in the case of Dallas getting Luka and Atlanta getting Trae Young in the same draft, right?
Yeah.
So two superstars in the same draft, and the Knicks are like, well, why not us? And then they look to the guy that we drafted in that draft, Kevin Knox, and say, well, you know what? Maybe if we gave Kevin Knox minutes, he could be something like those guys. And to me, nothing could be farther from the truth.
I mean, you know it when you see it, right?
Right.
Like, I trust me, I still think Kevin Knox could be a contributing player to a good team. But it's really, when you're a bad team, which the Knicks have been for a very long time, and they're still not a good team. Like, the toughest thing to do is to get out of that if you don't get lucky in the draft and be able to draft a generational. No, that doesn't need to be a generational player, because like Trae Young, right?
Right.
Like, Trae Young's not a generational sort of player, but he's going to be a guy who's going to make the next 8 All-Star teams. There's only been, but you're like that dude. You're going to look back at his career, and he's going to have like a top probably 40 or 50 resume, barring injury or anything else, because he just has a really special skill. But you also need to get it right? Like, go talk to the Kings about Marvin Bagley. Go talk to, the Suns about, Josh Jackson, who was taken, in between. Imagine being the Suns and having to take the guy between Jason Tatum and De'Aaron Fox. Like, one guy is going to be a perennial MVP candidate, and the other guy is probably going to make his. I think he should make his first All-Star team this year, although he probably won't. Like, you got to know what you're doing, and look, they brought in this front office, so that's the other reason why I have less of a problem trying to make the playoffs this year. Is like, Okay, so maybe they don't end up with a top 5 pick, or let me rephrase that. Maybe they don't go into the lottery with the odds more in favor of that they get a top 5 pick. It doesn't mean you can't get a guy. Look at this draft. Look at the
Right.
guys. Look at the guys people are talking about as the top rookies from this draft. It's the guy who was picked third. The guy who was picked. What did Halliburton go? 11th or 12th? Whatever.
Yeah.
It's the guy who was picked 11th to 12th. It's Maxi who was picked. What was he? 19th or 20th? Whatever.
21,
21st.
something like that.
21st. And the guy who was picked 25th. So
Right.
again, I'm sick and tired of these arguments about like you need to tank, otherwise you're doing your franchise a disservice of getting that top guy. I've been willing to have that argument before the lottery odds flattened out. You can't have that argument anymore with the lottery odds the way they are now.
Right. And so the to perpetuate losing, to take a shot at a guy that may pan out only dooms you to more losing. Because what happens is the roster that you have before you draft that guy gets accustomed to losing.
Yeah.
Right. And also losing rosters have so much roster turnover that it's hard to develop chemistry, because losing rosters always want to get better going into the next season.
Yeah.
Right. And so you have this weird cycle of perpetual losing, lack of chemistry, front offices and things of that sort that are always changing, coaches, GMs, team presidents, players. And we think that drafting a star in a draft is going to change all of that on draft night.
I will say this. I think it's just maybe the calculus changes a little bit if you're not in a big market. Because, like, you look at Detroit, right? Detroit made a couple playoffs, I think, with Andre Drummond and Reggie Jackson.
Right.
And that didn't lead anywhere, obviously.
No.
Now, did they make all of the right decisions? No. Were they the most expertly run franchise? No, they were not.
No.
But at the same time, it's Detroit. Like, no one's going to sign. Although I shouldn't say that because Jeremy Grant signed there and he's looking pretty good. But like your franchise changing players aren't going to sign in a place like Detroit.
Right.
But like for a franchise like the Knicks, who again we've been saying it forever, just show competence, and who knows who might want to come. They got the first part right in whatever it was 2019, where they were like, we'll just open up the cap space and the guys will come. Well, no, we learned that cap space is enough. You have to look like a franchise that has a clue, which they're doing. So that's good.
Right. And so my concern with the having money thing, my concern is that no matter how much money you have, if guys feel like they're not going to have a comfortable NBA life, the money is not going to be as appealing. And what I mean by comfortable NBA life, I mean they have to be able to have a good relationship with the head coach. They have to know their role. Sure. They have to feel like the franchise. Every day the franchise wakes up, their number one priority is winning.
Yeah.
Free agents are not going to want to come to a place where winning is not the number one thing, in my opinion. I don't care how beautiful your city is. I don't care how many people, how much shine you can get, how many endorsements you can get off the court. But when you're a loser and you're in an uncomfortable situation with front office and your head coach, guys are not wanting to risk, money to come to a place and be uncomfortable.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think it's interesting because you look at the places where winning has happened, and it's almost like what came first, the chicken or the egg? Because it's like, right. Okay, so who are the good situations right now? It's Brooklyn. I think it is a place that look at the places that people have wanted to go over the last several years. Brooklyn, people went out of their way to go there. Miami, Jimmy Butler forced his way there, and other guys have wanted to go there over the years, and the LA teams. Right. So you could look at each of those situations, with the exception of the Lakers, and say those teams started putting the winning building blocks in place. The Clippers did it, Brooklyn did it, and obviously Miami's track record is as whatever since Pat Riley arrived. The Lakers are the only exception, but again, the Lakers exist in their own universe because they're, other than the Yankees, they're like the franchise in the world of professional sports, and whatever, maybe the Cowboys. So I think having both helps, And hey, we don't have to worry about like, well, is the winning culture going to be enough by itself? Because I'm not sitting and talking to you from Cleveland or Charlotte
Right.
or Indianapolis. Like this is New
Right.
York. So like whether or not it just is the winning culture or is the winning culture plus giving an appealing destination for players to go to, that's not something we have to worry about here.
Right.
Just,
Right.
because it's, the city still is the city, and guys are still going to want to come here. I do want just one real quick thing about the money. And I've written about this to some extent over the last like several months. I almost think the days of not completely, but to a certain extent, the days of like building up your cap space for that free agent summer where a certain guy hits the market, I almost think those days are almost done because now we exist in a
Wow.
world where, well, not done, because some guy. Here's why it's not done. If you are of the level of a top 5 player, right,
Right.
like a Kawhi or a KD, and I could break my leg tomorrow, and there will still be another team willing, or many teams willing to
Right.
give me a complete full max contract, despite
Right.
that fact. Unless
Right.
you're of that level of player, like you're not gonna let yourself get to free agency. You're gonna force a trade to another situation beforehand, and that's why like the notion of like, oh, not that there's anybody to really keep our cap space open for in the next couple of years anyway, but just moving forward, this idea of like, I know when the Gordon Hayward thing popped up this summer, and there was like, oh, they were going to offer him, or they did offer him 3 for $70. People were
Right.
like, oh no, why would you want to clog up your cap space on Gordon? Like, as long as you're signing a contract that is movable and that
Right.
is desirable for other teams to want to have,
Right.
you're fine. Because ultimately, that's how you're going to get your superstar anyway. The next superstar who's going to play for the Knicks isn't going to be Devin Booker as a free agent. It's going to be Devin Booker a year and a half or 2 years from now when he goes to the Suns and it's like, all right, I'm ready for you to trade me now. This has run its course. I'm just using that
Right.
as an example.
Right.
So, just something to keep in mind in terms of like, the notion, and it speaks to what you're saying too, right? Because it's like, in an effort to get better, as long as you're not signing bad money, right? Which is like
Right.
essentially the contract that Charlotte gave Gordon Hayward.
Right.
But like, this is going to come up again this summer with guys like Spencer Dinwiddie is a guy that I have to think that the Knicks are going to be in on this summer.
Right.
Like, you could sign that guy to a decent deal, as long as it's a deal that you feel pretty good. Like, if we need to trade this thing in a pinch, we could trade it. That's the
And
key.
you know what? And so I looked at the Knicks roster, and I'm here to tell you that the contracts that the Knicks are looking to offer Knicks fans. So for one, Knicks fans are scarred for some reason by the contracts offered to Joakim Noah, Tim Hardaway Jr. Yeah, and so but then we give the front office a pass for having about $40 million in dead money, right? And I mean the $17 remaining in cap space.
You mean the cap space, not dead money, the open cap space.
Well, I'm calling it dead money because it's not actually a player on the floor, right?
Oh,
I know,
that money ain't dead yet. Let me tell you, that money's gonna.
okay.
I am fully of the belief that money will come in handy before it goes by the wayside.
Well, good. But when looking at this, I'm looking at Kevin Knox makes $6 million a year. I'm looking at Frank Ntilikina make $6 million. And so what's he making this year? Is he making what?
Well, Frank this year Frank is close to 6. Kevin's at 4.8 this year.
Okay.
But it's based on the rookie salary scale. It's like you get it's a pretty big jump between your third and your fourth year, and then you enter restricted free agency.
So we have Dennis Smith Jr., Frank, Kevin Knox, and that $17 million.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the total amount is, but I'm thinking that would be close enough to get a superstar player in the building if we were to move those 3 guys and use that $17 million in cap space. I think it would be enough to And I'm not saying that we can trade, those three guys for Bradley Beal. What I'm saying is that a guy that makes a cut 27 mil, $30 million, I think we could, take on that contract and not be over the cap and still have a pretty good guy on the floor.
I mean, so a couple of things. I'm not sure. I think Bradley Beal is going to cost a lot in terms of like you're not getting those, Bradley Beal for those
Definitely.
guys.
It's
going to be a ton of picks and probably
a young player or two, maybe.
Well, I have
a good young player or two.
You're not getting Bradley Beal unless R.J. Barrett or Emmanuel quickly is going back in the deal, plus a bunch of picks, plus additional salary. So I'm not sure that's the move. Plus, I don't know if Bradley Beal wants to come here.
Right.
Again, we're really thrilled with how things have gone so far, but this is 23 games. I think and again, it all ties together. This goes back to what you were saying before, because you need to prove yourself, and I don't think the Knicks have quite. It takes a lot to wipe off 20 years of stink.
Yes, a lot.
And 23 games is a good start, but I think they got to do it the whole year before a guy is going to look at it and be like, okay, I want to come there. Putting Beal aside though, like they have all the flexibility in the world, but it's a matter of, who is that guy going to be that it makes sense to trade for. And I don't think that player is out there right now. I don't think it makes sense to trade for Beal. I mean, I wrote about Oladipo today, as did my my podcast co-host Jeremy Cohen for the Strickland. And we're both of the opinion that like if the cost is cheap enough, sure, trade for Oladipo. But like Oladipo is, he hasn't been good.
No.
Let's just say.
Right.
I don't still do something, but yeah.
I'm not for sure why this team would trade for a Victor Oladipo, saying that he's got major flaws in his game right now. And I don't know for sure if it's the adjustment to playing with a new team. Maybe chemistry is not there.
He wasn't all that great in Indianapolis earlier this season either.
After the injury, right?
I think the injury thing is we can't keep going back to like he's still working his way back from injury. That injury was over 2 years ago now. But he can still do some stuff. He can still get to the hoop. He doesn't do it as much as he used to. I'm definitely worried about the shooting numbers. I don't think he is like. Here's the fundamental issue with New York right now, building this thing moving forward. I wrote about this earlier this week. Is you have two guys right now in Julius Randle and RJ Barrett, who pretty clearly they operate best with the ball in their hands, right. And that's fine. That's okay. But if you bring in another guy that ideally likes the ball, and Victor Oladipo, I think, is like 4th or 5th in the league in usage rate. So there's not many people that like to have the ball more than him. Then you're like, then you're like, okay, well, so who's not when one of those three or two of those three, obviously, because there's only one ball, don't have the ball in their hands. Like what's happening? Like what are those other guys doing? And like there are ways around it, like sophisticated sets where guys are cutting and like and like I think RJ and Randall have taken a step up together this season in terms of how they play off each other, even though those guys are neither of those guys are really threats without the ball. Right. All due respect to Randall hitting whatever he's hitting now from 3-point range. But this is a really tough thing for the Knicks to consider moving forward. Because I don't know I don't know that there's an easy answer.
So let me ask you this. Because I know, man, you're a busy guy, man. So I wanted to touch on the anniversary of the Kristaps Porzingis trade thing, but I want to ask you before we get to that. I wanted to ask you, how impressed are you with Julius Randle's game this year, considering he's almost not only are his assist numbers up, but he's almost shooting 40% from three. I think he's like at 37, 38 something percent right now.
He's doing something. If you factor in, actually forget about the usage rate. If you just look at his numbers and look at the guys throughout NBA history who have averaged 20, 10, and 5. It is of MVPs, multiple time All NBA players, and at the very least, multi-time All-Stars. Like there's literally been one guy in NBA history who put up these sorts of numbers that wasn't like an all-time great. It was Sidney Wicks for the Blazers in the early 70s. Now, has the game changed a little bit? And assists, there are assists come from different places more freely now. Yes, which is why several of the seasons that we have seen in the league that guys have ever done that has come in the last handful of years with Giannis, Jokic, and now this season Domantas Sabonis is doing it also. So I think that takes a little bit of the shine off of what he's doing, but it's still a massive accomplishment when you consider just how much the Knicks are relying on him, not for offense. It's like there's a lot of guys in the league who teams will dump into them and like, okay, get me a bucket, which the Knicks are doing. But he's running the show. He's their de facto point guard, which is why like the it's going to be so frustrating because I don't think he's going to make the All-Star team. I hate to say that, but it's really going to be tough because there's just the East is freaking loaded. But at the same time, I look at what he's doing for his team versus what other guys are doing for their team. Like it's like Kyrie Irving is going to make the All-Star team. Like that's going to happen.
Right.
If you took Kyrie Irving off the Nets, and in fact you did take Kyrie Irving off the Nets for a while, but if you took him off the Nets for the rest of the season, is that really going to make that big of a difference? Or if you replace Kyrie Irving with, I don't know, Alec Burks on the Nets for the rest of this year, what are the Nets going to win? 2 less games, 2 fewer games, 3 fewer games?
Maybe.
And to be clear, that I don't want to say that you should completely hold that against the player. And that's not the only factor that goes into All-Star voting. But like when I look at Randle and how much he means, to the Knicks, and again, that only matters if they continue to be around 500. If a guy means a lot to a team and the team stinks, it doesn't matter. So they're between like stinking and being decent. So I think they need to win a few more games for this to be a real conversation. But yeah, no, he's been awesome, man. Good, kudos to that dude.
So here is why. Here is why I think Julius Randle should not only be an All-Star, but should be comfortably, should get in comfortably, right? So when you look at the Knicks wins this season, the Knicks wins this season are probably just as impressive as, say, the Clippers, the Jazz, and other teams. So while we only have 10 of them, we have knocked off the Bucks, the Pacers,
the
Hawks, the Warriors, the Jazz, a bunch of good wins, and that's and I'm not going to say mostly, but Julius Randle had a lot to do with those victories, right?
Well, just look at the numbers with him on the floor versus the numbers with him off the floor. It's not close,
right? And then also, so you mentioned Sabonis. And I'm going to mention Jokic, right? As the 20 and 10 got 20, 10 and 5. Look at the supporting cast in Denver.
Yep.
Look at the supporting cast in Indiana, and then look at the supporting cast that Julius Randle has.
Yeah.
And ask somebody that's not biased which would be more impressive. And I would say Julius Randle is more impressive playing with a starting 5 of Mitchell Robinson, Elfrid Payton, Reggie Bullock, and RJ Barrett.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So if I'm an All-Star voter, and I'm asking everybody to spam for Randle, but if I'm an All-Star voter, I take things like that into account. Who does more with less? Yep. And I believe Julius Randle has done more with less. Now, of course, we know the All-Star game is not a merit vote situation. It's a popularity contest, right?
To a certain extent, yeah.
Yeah, it should be merit-based. It should be merit-based. But over the years, we understand that it's a popularity contest. I mean, one year Vince Carter got in and he played like 15 games or something. So we know it's a popularity contest. But hey, so how good are you on time?
I gotta get out of here in like literally 2 minutes. So let's ask me whatever the KP thing you wanted to ask me is.
Right. So what I want to do is open the floor. Or have you go about the Porzingis trade, if we can do that in about 100 seconds.
So my stance on the Porzingis trade, in short, is I'll never believe that was a sound process by the Knicks in terms of how they went about it. And I think, the thing I always go back to is like, if you put Sam Presti in charge of like executing that or dealing with that situation and trying to extract the most out of that, what would we potentially have gotten? That's the thing I'll always wonder. At the same time, I don't necessarily think I'm going to need to wonder it that much, because I think they're going to wind up doing okay from this deal, and I think there was sound wisdom in deciding we need to move on from this guy. One, because regardless of whose fault it was, that things had reached the point of how bad they got in the organization between KP and the Knicks.
Right.
I think there's a lot of blame there on Porzingis. I think there's a lot of blame there on the Knicks, both the current regime and obviously the Phil Jackson. Regardless of that situation was no longer tenable. It was the right move to get him out of here. And and the contract. Right now, if the Mavs shopped Porzingis on his current contract, what would they be able to get back? I don't know. I don't know that anybody in the NBA really has a great answer for that right now. Do I think they'd be able to move him? Yeah, I think they'd be able to move him. I think some team would take a shot, but is some team giving up significant assets for the right to see if that dude can stay healthy? And like, I'm not so sure. It's dicey. So, I think it's going to work out okay. How okay is it going to work out? We'll see. The Mavs lost obviously last night. I still have my doubts about whether or not they are actually going to not be a top, 6 or 7 seed. Because I think so highly of Luka Doncic, so I'm still like, I'm cautiously optimistic, and the fact that this could be a lottery pick is even a possibility. I think that's huge. So it's a lot better than it could have turned out. I'll say that. I'm always gonna wonder like what else could have maybe been out there, but it was there. The trade's looking a lot better than it was, let's say a year ago. And on that note, I do have to run, but this was a lot of fun. So thank you for bringing me on.
Hey man, this was super dope. So ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Macri from the Knicks Film School. Make sure that you subscribe to the newsletter and read his stuff on Twitter. His stuff on Twitter is dope.
I appreciate it, and we'll do this again next month. All right.
Yeah, man. Thank you for stopping by, man. All right. Hey, everybody. That was Jonathan Macri from the Knicks Film School. Right. All right. So I should have did this earlier, but I'm going to do it right now just for y'all.
I rank where the view is nothing less than phenomenal. For how I express and project from my abdominal. The only view better, both my daddy and my mama know. No living parents, my sons give me balance. My wife is my serenity, this mic is my identity. The world is foul enough, that's why I write without obscenities. Provoking danger with broken language and spoken anguish. Begging to get hurt, why would you ask to go through changes? Yes, Lord, life's a chessboard, master the angles. Control the tempo, be the one who holds the info. Acknowledge is just as deadly as machete swings. When spoken, the truth is as potent as that Medellin. While others swear the style is free, I just let it ring. Our time is under better value soldiers make us better kings. My family's on my shoulder, reaching after better things. Today I take the shot, for them I'd rather set the screen.
My mama told me follow my dreams. My daddy told me get it by any means. Stand tall, make him bow to a king. But I've evolved, you can see the resolve. Look in my eyes when you speaking to God.
So again, shout out to Jonathan Macri of the Knicks Film School. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to the Knicks Film School newsletter. Check out the Knicks Film School on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. They post a video podcast weekly. I think it may be more than weekly. But I check it out often. I'm a big fan of him, and he is a big fan of y'all as well. Kev, what's good?
What's going on, man? Yo, that was a dope interview. That was a dope interview, man. That's my man. That's my man. Hey, let me tell you, the last time we played Chicago, during the day there was a post that we thought that was by him saying how Tibbs was going to change the rotation. Yeah. And I got psyched and everything, and then all of a sudden it came up as that it was a fake account. Yeah. So of course I went to the source. I said I went to him because I could reach him out on Twitter. I said, "Yo, was your account hacked?" He was like, "Yeah, it was." I was like, "Oh man, you had us all rolling it." Yeah, but yeah, I like Macri is he is one of the most reasonable and knowledgeable Knicks fans out there,
and he's a franker.
Absolutely. But he's like me. If your best ability is your availability, and we've never strayed away from that. We can't defend the dude if you're not out there and everything. So. But yeah, that's
you heard what he said when I called Frank dead money.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know if I
know about that. Yeah, exactly. Because you figure, honestly, if one of these guards goes down, it's going to be the next man up, and he's going to be that right there. So. But what he said, Bodega Wi-Fi, he said the owner of the Steelers owns Yonkers Raceway.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know the Roonies owned Yonkers Raceway.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Hey, what's up?
What's good?
The man.
To the back. It's Brick Friday. City. Let's get to the back.
You're right.
Let's get to the back.
Oh man.
Hold these on.
All right. Yeah, man. But yeah, that was a dope interview, man. That was.
Yeah, appreciate it. I was looking forward to that, man. I always like talking to him.
Yeah.
Because he's reasonable.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? He's gonna be, reasonable and he listens too. So when you have a conversation with Macri, it's not like the one-way street. You know how some people have an agenda and you talk to them and they don't hear a word you say because they're focused and hamstrung by their agenda.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But Macri's not. And what I meant to ask, and we were short on time, and maybe I'll ask him next time. I'm going to ask him, and I'll joke with him about it later, I guess. But I'm going to ask him if he can start asking more hard-hitting questions for the players.
To the players, yeah.
Because he is super nice to the players. Like when I said, the next question is from Jonathan Macri from Knicks Film School.
Yeah.
And Macri would jump on and say, hey Julius, I noticed that you had a tuna sandwich for lunch. Did they cut your sandwich sideways or in the triangle? I wanted to joke, but I just couldn't get to it. We didn't have enough time.
Well, two things for that. I think because
hold on, y'all. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hey, CP the artist. That's why they call me ghetto intellect, baby. I know how to switch it up.
Right.
No, what I was gonna say was, I think the fan in him is so starstruck that he's got this opportunity to talk with with these players and and the coach as well. So I think that's why sometimes he doesn't ask those hard hit questions, unlike a Mark Berman or who else. But then again, they're paid.
Mitch, we saw your tweet on Twitter last night before you deleted it.
Oh, absolutely.
but
Absolutely.
the thing with Macri, and I'm joking. So this is all tongue
Yeah,
in cheek
absolutely.
with Macri, right? But
Absolutely.
I wanted to get to that. But at the same time, you have to be respectful of people's time
Yes.
and such. So
yes.
I want.
Hey, that's why you ain't put that link in there, because I was waiting for it. I was like, when's it coming? When's it coming?
Nah, this is yeah. I wanted to have that moment all to myself because
Right.
I usually, to be honest with you, as the moderator, I always want to give others their moment. It's part of the reason why you see me step off the screen.
Right.
And just because what I'll do is I'll step off the screen,
Yeah.
and then but I'll watch it in the living room, right? So I go in the living room in a recliner and watch everybody on the big screen and see how it plays out, see how it looks to the viewers, and see how my people look. And then at the same time, it's me star searching. Like when people come on, I'm like looking to see who's a star, who's built for this, and who's not. And then that way, you know, that way when I do stuff like this,
Yes.
when I do stuff like this, I know that I can do this right here because the people love Cornerstone Kev. You know what I'm saying? They love Cornerstone Kev.
They love to laugh. That's what it is. I still can't get that, but
and the fans love when I do this right here. They love when I do that right there. They were like, this dude right here is the star of the show. You know what I'm saying? But what I was basically, you know, what I was getting at is I don't necessarily get my moment all the time. So when I got Macri on, I just want to be, you know, have it be my moment. Right. Selfishly, I knew the fans, you know, everybody would dig it. You know what I'm saying? You know what we were talking about and such, because it's basically the stuff that we talk about, but just wanted to get his expertise on it.
Right. Before he came on, I loved your take about how it's important for us to make the playoffs,
right,
and not to, you know, we've been so engulfed with wanting to go into the draft, trying into the lottery. It's like when the season begins and let's say we've lost 3 or 4 games, automatically you'll see that tank go up. Right. Talking about this is a tanking season. Right. And now that the mentality has changed this year, and let's be honest, it has changed this year with us winning and everything. I don't know if many of the Knicks fans can accept what is going on, because we've been so much used to losing and, you know, going into the draft. And then when we get into the draft, when we get in there, we're always disappointed because we didn't get the number one or the player that we thought that the organization would go with goes another way. Right. You know?
Right. So my main thing is this. You want to add roster to you want to add talent to your roster.
Right.
Right. That's the main thing. You want to extract the most talent out of your roster as possible. And then at the same time, when given the opportunity to go into a draft, you want to add the player that adds the most value to your roster.
Right.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so my belief is that by getting the kids to experience high leverage games,
right,
you make them better. You pull something out of them.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know how good you can possibly be potentially until you're tested.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because if you get there, if you get there and you get tested and you win, now you're like, man, I could have been doing this the whole time.
Right. Absolutely.
Right. But then if you get there and you're tested and you lose, you're like, okay, this offseason is going to be centered around these deficiencies.
Right. And the team that you're playing against, that next year, you will have that that extra motivation because you'll know what to do when you play that team again.
Right.
You know, like for all the battles that we saw that we saw with Miami and Cleveland when they were going back and forth and against Boston as well. Yeah, Miami may have won those series, but Boston and those Boston teams would be like, okay, we know what we have to do. for the next year in order to, to possibly beat Miami. It never happened, unfortunately, but we know what we have to do.
Right.
And the other thing is for our youngsters, they'll see that what it looks like when you have to play a team in the playoffs, four or five times. You're in a best of 7.
Right.
So it's good for them to get that experience, because even though you may win the first game, you may not win the second game.
Right.
and then you got a series.
Right. And so the thing about it too is when you get in these series type scenarios, a team legit has film of you, cut-ups of you, of what your strengths are.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so during the regular season, teams are they may have like a video coordinator that's going to do a cut up of the last 3 games, cut up of each player, cut up of offensive scheme, cut up of defensive scheme, cut up of last 8 minutes of the game, cut up of the first 8 minutes of the game, things like that for a cat to review. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But when it comes to the playoffs, they have all your stuff.
All your stuff.
Because the season is on the line, right?
Yeah.
So they have a cut up of all your stuff. Where you like to shoot from. They have your shot chart for the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
Every last one of your shots is charted, and so they scheme defensively. And so it's a bunch. So it's a different animal when it comes to the playoffs. So G.I., you got something?
Yeah, no, I just am sitting here taking it all in, because one thing about what comes with age comes a control of your emotional intelligence, right? Right. And I think that's what you're getting to this morning, Kev. So I try not to have wild up and downs. I try not to, I said, okay, we're going to take this in 5, 6, 7 game blocks. And when we start off 5-3, I said, well, let us be 13-10. And then I'll get excited that maybe this team is better than what it is. This team, even though it's sitting around 500, this team, and I'm looking at the talent. And again, my major assessment on the season was, man, the young guys are doing the best they can. In fact, we have 2 young guys playing above their potential. If you have 4 young guys you're banking on, let's say we're banking on RJ, Kevin Knox, Obi Toppin, and Quickly. Let's say those are 4 best young guys with less than 3 years of experience.
Right.
You have 2 of them exceeding expectations. Right. Let me say that again. You have 2 of them. Tell me what other team has 4 young players and 2 of them exceeding expectations. So from a young development standpoint, although we always want to see them develop more, guys think it's possible to develop 4 and 5 guys at a time. That's just not. That's just not. Nowhere in business, nowhere in life, nowhere on the streets. And I'm from the block, so I apologize if I tend to speak more street than I do. I try to balance it out. But on the block, this is not going to be 5 guys getting money.
Right.
Somebody's going to lead. Somebody's going to lead to the top, and maybe another guy lead to the top.
Yeah.
The other 3 guys are going to be working for somebody. Right. So if you embrace that perspective, if you embrace that analogy, there's no way for us to be 10-13 and develop 4 young guys with less than 3 years experience.
Right. And the fan base wants that number to be 7. If you include Frank, Mitch, and DSJ, you know what I'm saying? They want that number to be 7.
Yeah.
But that's impossible.
Right.
So now that we have that, we got some drafts. Oh, I'm sorry, and Mitch.
Oh, Mitch. Yeah, got Mitch.
Yeah. Oh my God, I left out Mitch.
Right.
So,
that's what I'm saying.
We've really done better in the draft than we give ourselves credit for. So that's why, Freezy, I thank you for bringing Macri on. I'm gonna be quick. I promise I won't be long. So he gave me a perspective that, you know what? It's okay to not get a top 5 pick and still get a good player that keeps you forward in your development.
Right.
So that's the mindset I'm leaving with today. That's why I've been quiet. I'm gonna start pushing that after 30 games. Let Tibbs do his thing, and my next stress will come in June when they start picking ping pong balls and
right.
And Tibbs and front office sit down and analyze the season and Tibbs gets to say, because I'm going to assume Tibbs gets one set. Let's assume Tibbs gets one set. In June, he gets to say, "This is what I need to win going forward, and I could turn this franchise."
Right.
Yep.
Right. And no doubt. And so the thing we also touched on, and I think Knicks fans just don't get it. Some of them just don't get it.
Yes.
Right. So here's the thing. Julius Randle is 22-10-5. 22 actually is 22-11-6, right? 22-11-6. Jokic is 22-10-5. Sabonis is 22-10-5, right? And those dudes have those numbers with talent. Right? Julius Randle, if you look at the starters, he's playing with Elfrid Payton, Reggie Bullock, Mitchell Robinson, and RJ Barrett. It's almost impossible to get 6 assists out of that starting unit from your power forward.
Right.
But Randle is doing it on a nightly basis, right? So not only is he hitting them with passes when they need to be hit, he's also moving on the court to create passing lanes to not only get him a pass that he can make, but also get them in a situation where they can make open shots.
That last part you said, when they need to be hit,
right?
That resonates. That resonates.
Right. And so I think Julius Randle deserves more credit for what he's doing with this team, because Elfrid Payton is not an offensive guy. Reggie Bullock is not an offensive guy. Mitchell Robinson is not an offensive guy. How do you put him on the floor with 3 guys that are more team defensive guys, and the dude still gets 6 assists a game? And Knicks fans will say, well, why don't we trade Julius Randle for a first-round pick so that Obi Toppin can play? It's asinine. It's asinine to me. It boggles the mind.
I don't get it. I really don't. And then when they try to make up the narrative for it, of their reasoning why, it still doesn't make sense.
Right. And they say, well, I heard State of the New York Knicks podcast. State is our guy and a friend of the show.
Yeah.
But he said, man, you got to trade Randle because they didn't draft Obi Toppin for nothing. Dog, that boggles my mind.
Who says that his success has to come in his first year?
Who says success has to come in 3 years when we have him on a rookie deal, and we have the potential in 3 years to have Randle playing 25 minutes and the other one playing 24 minutes, or what is it? Whatever it is, 21 minutes. Come on, guys.
And who's to say our measure of success is the same measure of success that the team sees? Because it's about perspective, right? It's about perspective. I mean, why would you even consider? Decreasing Randle's minutes when he's playing at like a top 30 NBA player, and Obi Toppin doesn't even know what a lunchroom is yet.
Here's the next conversation I don't want to have. So, Freezer, you're gonna have to behave yourself too, because I think you got to give up I think if we're listening to Macri and learning from our guests, we got to give up any trade scenarios now, because any team trying to trade now is probably a sign of desperation. So we probably need to hold off on it, and let's just see if we can stay around 500, two games above, 2 games below. That's going to greatly exceed what we expected in October when you started this podcast.
Right.
And in addition, any trade we made now, I didn't even take in the fact that Bill may not want to play here. Do you know how hurt we would be to be willing to move the assets for Bill, and Bill say, yeah, I'll go there, but I'm not resigning. and so I think we got to chill. We talk about Oladipo, and I don't watch him, but to hear that he's not playing at the level he was. So a lot of things got shot down quick, man. So I'm going to chill. Let's ride this season out, man. And let's analyze the guys we got and have a good time.
Right.
So write it out with the good, the bad, and sometimes maybe the ugly. Sometimes.
Right. So I do believe there are trades to be made, and he alluded to it. So when I mentioned the $17 million as dead money, he also said, and without stepping on his sources or without letting the cat out of the bag, I guess.
Right.
He said, "Oh no, I believe the Knicks." I guess he alluded to saying he believed the Knicks were gonna do something, right? With that money, yeah, because I believe you don't have that much money on your bench and not do something, because I think they're assets.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, but it sounds like it's gonna be the right deal. It ain't gonna be no wild swing.
Yeah.
Right.
And again, I mean to cut you off, Freeze, but again, that's why Leon Rose put the people in place, to handle all this. He hired a capologist. He's got Worldwide West and some other people on it, on his staff. He strategically put these people here for a purpose. So if we go with the notion of what Macri was saying about there might be something there'll be something on the horizon that will benefit us. I gotta believe that.
Right. Right. So I believe what you'll see is the Knicks go after a guy like maybe Kyle Kuzma.
Okay.
A guy maybe like maybe kick the tires on a guy like Otto Porter Jr. A guy like maybe a Jay Crowder, a guy that's not going to cost a lot, a guy that may be available, but at the same time, a guy that's not going to come in here and destroy the chemistry of the team.
Right.
That's what I heard him saying. I heard him say you got two ball dominant guys. Why would you bring in a third and mess everything up right now, especially in half court offense? If you play up tempo like the Nets, man, as soon as they get the ball, they take it off.
Yep.
Because they realize they got to have more possessions for everybody to get their numbers. And Dan Antonio is not far from that staff, correct?
Nope.
Right.
So that might make sense. We play half court, man, and anybody that thinks we're gonna speed it up, Tibbs should speed it up. You can, have your Monday morning quarterbacking. When you see this team play, it's gonna be low possessions, a lot of passing, and prayerfully efficiency.
Yeah. Yes.
And if somehow there's still vets, if somehow maybe an all-star break, which is really no all-star game, but I guess they're gonna take some time off, I would assume. I know the CBA ain't taking that away. So maybe something happens with Burks, Bullocks, and Rivers. And again, we don't need three good players. We need them combined to have a game and a half. And if we get a game and a half out of three of them,
yeah,
right, no doubt. I just think that what you said is absolutely right in my book. We just need 1.5 of them to show up every night. Out of those
every
three.
Every night.
Right. And so we don't need Rivers to go off for 25 points and a half every day. But we just need him to maybe be more of a 10-point scorer, 11-point scorer, even though his career averages say that he's not going to be that guy.
We just need him to be all around.
Right.
All around.
Yeah,
that's why I'm so boggled about Knox, because he has so much more ability than just trying to shoot that that 3-pointer.
Right.
Well, you went there. You said he has so much more ability. Tell me what he's shown. Because I've been waiting for him to come into his own. Are you suggesting he did something that he's not doing anymore? Because when you say he has ability, if he has it, he'd show it.
If he has the will to get that rebound, I think he could do it.
Okay.
I really do.
Okay.
Yeah. When he has that ability to take it, throw it down, or take it to the rack, I think he could do that. I've seen it. I have not seen it enough.
I'm going to say this. I think Knox. Okay. So there was this game we used to play in kindergarten called musical chairs.
Yes,
right, right. And so what the teacher would do
can't wait to hear this.
is look at it, like the teacher would call the roll and see how many kids, see what how many babies were there. And I call them babies because at 5 years old, you're not a man. You ain't even a kid. You're a baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So think about it. 4 years ago, you were learning how to walk. So you're a baby. You know. So anyway, so the teacher counts the number of kids. Okay, so the number of kids is 20. So the teacher takes 19 chairs and puts them in a circle. Right. And then she plays a song, something like "All Around the Mulberry Bush." Yeah. The monkey plays the whistle.
I told you where it's going.
Pop goes the weasel. Everybody scrambled for a chair, and then there's one kid standing up, and that kid's like, "Oh, God, dog it!" And then they go sit. They go sit over there on the mat, and the teacher takes one chair out of the circle, closes the circle, and goes, "All around the mulberry bush, the monkey chased the weasel," and so on and so on, and so on and so on until you get to one chair and two kids, right?
Yeah.
And then she goes, "All around the mulberry bush," and the kids are stressed. They're like, "I survived. I don't want to lose in this last round." And she goes, "Pop goes the weasel," and one kid sits in a chair and the other one is standing up, and then you have a winner, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the case.
I hated that game, you know.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing about that game, though, the thing about that game is it instilled a level of competition and survival, right? You didn't know it at the time because you thought it was fun. The song is catchy. It's a game. People are cheering. You know what I'm saying? But it's instilling competition and survival.
Right.
And so what happens is when you play musical chairs, somebody's not going to survive. Right. And when drafting these kids in musical chairs, somebody's not going to survive. Yeah. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah.
It is.
So I was that kid. So I was that kid the kindergarten teacher picked most likely to go to jail because when the last seat was left, I would just snatch the seat from under the kid.
Yep. And then I used to be the dude pushing kids, and kids would be like crying. And my teacher would be like, "Uncle Freezy, don't push little Johnny." And I'm like, "Hey, Miss Teacher, I want to win. Every day I wake up, my sole purpose is winning. That's what I want to do." But anyway.
But it's funny that you use that analogy of not everybody survives, and that's the same thing. Even if you're at the top of the draft as well, even if you're the number one pick, some people just don't. Some players just don't survive.
Right, and I think you're going to see the collateral damage this year. I don't know for sure. I don't know for certain if Frank is not going to survive because Frank does provide something. Frank has a discernible NBA skill, right? And that is his energy on defense.
But you know what? Frank haters don't see that. But reasonable Knicks fans do.
I forgot I'm talking to a Frank. Oh, gee. Why you didn't tell me I was talking to a Frank? I forgot that fast.
So unless you're suggesting, Freezy, that they're stashing Frank, the free agent, who wants to play point guard, who got beat out by a rookie, for the future, I just don't see Frank surviving. We are counting every day that goes by as one less day that Frank will be in the New York Knicks uniform.
Right, and I'm not so for the record, I'm not saying that they're stashing Frank. What I'm saying is I don't believe that the two sides are giving up on each other like people think they are. Right? Now the Dennis Smith thing.
Yeah.
I think the two sides may be giving up on each other. You know what I'm saying? Because DSJ is wanting to go to the G League to show what he's got, and the team is, they're not even giving DSJ trash minutes. I think that one might be over. The thing with Kevin Knox is Kevin Knox is a tradable asset at this point. because he's shooting 39% from three. And if the Knicks feel like they can get something for him, I think they're going to try to get something for him.
And the Knicks have Kevin Knox under contract for another year, so he's going nowhere. And they're not going to pay him to walk away, so he'll at least be a bench player. I'm just trying to see what's suggesting you that Frank, the free agent, or giving you some type of feeling that Frank, the free agent, who does not get minutes, is somehow could potentially have a future with the Knicks.
Did you see how bad Austin Rivers looked?
Yeah, and Frank still ain't coming again.
Right. So what I'm saying is Austin Rivers and Reggie Bullock did not slam the door on Frank.
Okay. So you're saying there's still potential. So what? 5 games? 5 games? Hold on, Kev. I'm done after this.
Yeah.
5 games, 10 games, 15 games. How long you giving this before Frank enters the game?
I'm not for sure. I know there were 49 games left, right? And Austin Rivers did not close the door on Frank, right? And so I think if you continue to get the same thing from Austin Rivers, I think you'll see Austin Rivers' minutes diminished, and it'll open the door for Frank to come in and get table scratch.
See, here's the thing. You look at Bullock, you look at Rivers, and you look at Burks. All 3 of those guys had the opportunity to solidify their position.
Right.
When I mean solidify, I mean, Randle. Oh, there he is. There's that dude. There's that man. There goes that bad man. and he is a bad man.
Right. He embarrasses me too, because he keeps his knowledge high. He's on the elliptical. Right. I'm just becoming a big fat boy over here for the win. Yeah. I gotta do something.
Hey man, I got my exercise in for about 3 days with lifting all that snow and everything. So
oh wow.
But real quick, to my point, they had the opportunity to solidify their positions where you wouldn't have to think about anybody else. Where it's like Randle is always going to get his. RJ is always going to get his, and now to a point, Quickly is always going to get his. So with Bullock, with Rivers, with Burks, out of those 3, one of them had the opportunity to solidify that no one was going to take their position. That no one, and it's not happening for some reason. It's not happening because they're not consistent.
Right.
They're not consistent.
But you know what? If they had the ability to slam the door on Frank, they would have already slammed the door.
Right. Exactly. Right. They're not going to have this conversation.
The reason why they're in their current roles is because even if they aspire to be something different, when the numbers revert back to the mean, they are who they have always been.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Ron's always saying that. You are.
Right. Right. And so that's why I say so for instance, if Emmanuel Quickly had just been a young dumb rookie, I think Frank would be in the rotation right now.
Yeah.
But Emmanuel Quickly is not a young dumb rookie.
No, he's not. He's very smart. Very smart.
Emmanuel Quickly is potentially all NBA rookie first team.
Oh, absolutely.
Why can't it be though that Emmanuel Quickly slammed the door on Frank instead of Burks, Rivers, and Bullock?
Because I don't think it's a competition between those other guys. Yeah. Like say for instance, you're not going to sit Emmanuel Quickly to bring in Austin Rivers. You're not going to cut into Quickly's minutes
that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. You said that Rivers and let's say Burks didn't close the door on Frank, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
But why couldn't it be that Quickly closed the door on Frank? That's my question.
Well, because Frank is not
because G.I. cut me off. He ain't let me get to my point. So what I was gonna say is so every team has a role of a 6 man, a guy that has legit scoring off the bench, like that guy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying the 6 man's not gonna come in every night and give you, 20 off the bench. But what I'm saying is most teams have that guy that when you start to stagger the rotation, like when you start pulling starters out, they bring in a guy that can score against second units. You know what I'm saying? And quickly is that guy.
Yeah.
Austin Rivers, you can't depend on that.
No, you can't.
Alec, and remember,
I thought you could.
Alec Burks was that guy before he got hurt. But when he came back, he was no longer that. Quickly had taken that role and run with it by the time Alec Burks got back.
Okay,
you know what it is?
You know what I'm saying? And just a little bit further, Frank Ntilikina is never going to be that guy.
I get it. So here's where you got me a little confused, because unfortunately, I really impact information. I comprehend it and I compress it. So you have been telling me that Quickly is this floor general and the point guard.
Right.
And so right now you switch to Quickly is the 6-man assassin off the bench. And I didn't see you transitioning that quickly.
Right. No, okay, because he's doing both. Because the first point guard off the bench is
Quickly.
Right. And our scoring punch off the bench right now is Quickly and Burks. You know what I'm saying? Ideally, you would like for it to be either Burks and Obi or Quickly and Obi. You want balance on the floor when it comes to your scoring punch, right? You don't want it just to be guard heavy, perimeter heavy. You know what I'm saying? But it's not that. It's unfortunately for us, it's a point guard and a shooting guard off the bench. Providing that scoring punch, because Nerlens Noel is not going to score, right? Obi Toppin right now is not going to score. You know what I'm saying?
When he gets his opportunity, or when you mean score, you mean like not a bucket here or there, but you mean like consistently scoring. Is that
yeah? When Randle and RJ are resting, who is going to balance the floor out? Obi's not ready. You know what I'm saying? Obi's not ready to be Randle's replacement.
Right.
So can I ask this question then?
Yes. Sir.
What is Quickly's most important asset to the team? Is it coming off the bench and getting the team in rhythm, or coming off the bench and scoring? I guess that's where
it's absolutely his scoring.
Yeah.
Right.
His scoring is the most important asset to this team, because this team is devoid of shooting.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And while we sitting there talking about Austin Rivers, I ain't get a chance to get in him the other night. Sometimes your best plans, sometimes you have to go and take a detour, right?
Right.
And I was mad at myself when I watched the playback, because I said I was going to get into him. I apologize to everybody that I didn't get into him. But before I do that, hey, let me give everybody their warm welcome, man. Hey, y'all, appreciate you, Freezy, letting me in the building, man, on this morning drive. Hey, it's a little wet outside where I'm at, man. But
me
it's
too.
always sunny inside for the Knicks fans. You heard me?
Yes,
my man,
sir.
Cornerstone Kev, my man, GI, man. Hey, where Chop at, man? I need me that breakfast plate. You heard me? You know what I mean?
I need some.
I need them links.
Yes.
I need them eggs, man.
Yeah,
man.
I need that sausage and aki.
Shout out to the Knicks chat, man. Everybody, man. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to my man Uncle Freezy channel, man, you're doing yourself a disservice, man. Hey, subscribe, turn on your notification, tap that bell, man. That way you know when the man go live, man. Or you never know. You might get a video. You never know who show up. Jonathan Macri this morning, you heard me?
Hey, you never know.
Film school in the building.
You never know.
You never know. You get a treat. You know what I mean?
We got to get him on your show now.
It's just a treat.
You never know, man.
So, hey, man, y'all subscribe to my man channel and all the other Knicks platforms. Also, hey, y'all stop playing, man. Let's stop voting for Julius Randle. Make sure you vote every day for Julius Randle for that All-Star.
Right.
You know what I mean? Ain't nobody going to get him there but us. That's the mentality we got to have. Ain't nobody else.
And it's too many of us. It's too many of us. We in the biggest city.
All right.
We in the biggest city.
Say it again, Coach. Say it again, Coach.
Hey, we in the biggest city in the country.
When
was
the last time a Knick went to the All-Star game and actually played?
Carmelo Anthony.
Wow. That's huge. That's big. That's crazy.
I actually want the coaches. I'm a little different. I actually want the coaches to say that Julius Randle, he deserves to be on this. That's what I want. I want the coaches to respect.
Right.
Yeah, I think me and you on the same wavelength. I think that's how he's going to end up getting there. Because the coaches, thank goodness the coaches can vote. Because in my opinion, I feel like the coach should be the one voting anyway. It shouldn't be left up to the fans, because fans look at stuff on a popularity test.
Oh, of course.
It's just like keeping players on your team that's trash and players that's good. You know what I mean? If it's up to some of the fans, we're going to have some sorry players on our teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is what it is, man. But I'm going to tell you, y'all, I told y'all I was going to get on Austin Rivers, right? He's really starting to get on my nerves, man. I'm telling you. Now I see why they ran him from the Clippers. Now I see why they ran him from elsewhere too. He does some foolish stuff to be a veteran, man. That pass, that inbound pass where he threw at the knee, at the shin of
yes.
Who was that, RJ?
And he's a guard. And he's a guard. What was that?
Threw it at his shin. I expect that from Nerlens Noel doing something silly like that. And I would give him a pass, but I'd still be mad at him. But for this dude to be a coach's son, played for Krzyzewski, them been in the league as long as he looked like he can't handle high pressure situations.
Right.
Because and the thing is with Austin Rivers, I'm noticing him and Burks look at it and flip roll with this making mistakes, key mistakes in bunches. And Austin Rivers in the last, like, I think 3 or 4 games, man, if you watch him, when he make a turnover, it's always compounded with giving up points too.
Right.
And that's my problem. And then he can't shoot right now. I don't know what done happened to him. But
and the other thing, Ron, is he'll dribble into the paint and then come back out. You're thinking he's going to do something when he dribbles into the paint, and he just comes back out.
I'm glad you said that, Cornerstone, Kev, because you made me remember my other point about him that I'm hating to see. He's an ISO ball player, man. He's not a team ball player. I'm not saying the ball sticks in his hand, and I dare anybody to say he doesn't. It stays in his hand. He dribbled the ball too long, and when he passed the ball, he's passing the ball when his clock done ran down, and expecting somebody to take a shot.
Man, you were in the middle of your meal. So I refused. That's how you get punched in the face, trying to take a man plate from him while he eating. But my position was going to be, I expected that Austin Rivers should be able to go in the game, keep moving without the ball, and catch and shoot. He gets the ball. He, no matter what's going with the flow of the offense, soon as he gets it, he jab steps. He go in the triple. Guys can be moving. He puts his head down, and then he starts dribbling around. That's not offense. There's no way that's offense.
It looks like somebody trying to come in and take over the game, like he trying to be the star. You ain't the star, man. You just a piece. And it's becoming apparent in his game with his shooting to me. Somebody please look up his 3-point percentage. And it's becoming apparent with me when I watch him that he's a rhythm 3 shooter. He's not what you was just asking for, Ghetto. And I thought that he was able to play that kind of role, but he ain't that kind of player, man. He's not that kind of player. He got to dribble, and then set and then shoot. He's not gonna run off the screen and let that thing fly. So that's my take on Austin Rivers, man. And he keep playing like this, man, he ain't gonna see out that 3 years he signed for.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Tom Thibodeau cussed him out the other night, and he gave him, as we would say back home, he got that nasty cuss too. It was a nasty one. I read his. I was like, ooh. I felt like he was cussing me.
Right. Just when the Knicks thought they got to steal at $3 million, 3 years, $10 million, we got exactly what we got: a vet's minimum.
Raphael told y'all that. Raphael keep telling y'all. Raphael got a Moses in a lot.
Where he at? Ralph, get up here, Ralph.
It's like
Ralph. He keeps saying we keep thinking we got a deal, but we actually got exactly what we paid for.
It's like in that movie Friday when Debo was going against Ice Cube, and Smokey was, everybody was watching the fight, and Ice Cube had a few licks at Debo, and then Debo was starting to, get his in, and you see Smokey like, go get him, Craig.
Right.
That's how we are with
right.
But I tell you, I read somebody's response just now in the chat. Talk about Knicks fans hyped him up to be the saver. savior. Nobody didn't hype him up to be a savior. We gave him his credit. At least not over here. I'll say that.
No.
So I don't know who he might have been, hearing people talk about.
Well, he had me gassed up. I
gave him his credit. I recognize him as a potential piece that we could keep long term because of the way he was playing. But, the thing is, I try to tell people all the time, man, don't confuse people giving people their flowers with, oh, you can't critique somebody, or you can't, you can't criticize them. Because when people say criticize, if you look at the fact, criticizing, if you cut that in half, it ain't nothing but critique, and that's what coaches do. Coaches watch the players play, and they correct them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And right now, we critiquing his game is not what it was when he was balling.
Right.
And we'd be crazy to sit here and say, oh, man, Austin Rivers balling, when we know he's playing like trash. And that's why in sports, things are fluid. And you know what I mean? You gotta give people their credit. And just like case in point, Alfred Payton the other night. You know what I mean? Hey, the man played great. But we know he's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
He might show up once. He might show up once every 10 games. Worse than a roller coaster. He more like the city bus.
He plays with my emotions too much.
Yeah.
Too
and it makes you mad because you see it. You're like, okay, well, if you can do this tonight,
right?
Why you ain't doing it every night?
Exactly.
That's the kind of student right there that the teachers get mad in school about. Like, Freezer, you just made me start thinking about teachers, man. Austin Rivers
all around the mulberry bush, the monkey takes the weasel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right,
man.
Right.
Well, Rivers had me gassed up because we didn't know what to expect coming into the season. COVID, no training camp, and he started having the best interviews. And he started talking about, I didn't come here. I had other options on the table. I took this deal because it takes a different type of person to play in New York City. I can't lie. I was getting a little moist. I started getting I said, oh, people believe in us. He could have wouldn't play for a winner. And the first key was he ain't played the first 10 games of the season. He ain't playing pre. I'm like, all right, wait till Rivers come. Wait till Rivers come. He gonna come and be a savior. And he's been the biggest donkey.
And well, it's clear. It's clear what the agenda was, right? So Austin Rivers' agenda was this, right? Hey, I can go to a place where I would start off being the best player off the bench, and eventually take over either the starting point guard spot or slide into starting the two. But I can get in a rotation, and I can solidify my legacy as an NBA player. I can come in here and do a Mook Morris, and the Knicks fans will love me, and I can revive my career and parlay that into a huge contract later on down the road, right? But the thing is what he didn't what he underestimated was that playing in New York is not as easy as throwing on the jersey.
That's right.
It's a lot of stuff that go into it.
The Knicks.
I don't think he underestimated because his dad told him. His dad told him what it was like.
Right.
His dad told him.
Because Pops came here and he didn't play like he used to play in Atlanta. Remember, Doc Rivers was part of that squad in Atlanta with Spud Webb, Kevin Willis. Yeah. Tree Rollins.
Yeah.
Tree Rollins, all of them guys, man, where they ran up and down the floor fast as they can.
Yeah.
Doc was legit there.
He was arguably their number 2 behind Wilkins.
Behind Neat. Yeah. But then he came to New York and it didn't quite work out.
He looked like he was old when he came to us.
He looked like, he looked old and slow when he got here. You know what I'm saying? And so, but the other thing too, what I want to have the chat realize is just because you give people flowers don't mean you're gonna build a statue out front.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Austin Rivers. Yeah. So Ron got me hyped on a Friday. You know what I'm saying?
And it's not even game day. It's not even game day.
And we don't even have a game tonight. What I'm gonna do? Now look at what you done did. What I'm gonna do with all this energy?
And say it again, Coach. Say it again. Let's go out and do some suicide drills.
Yeah, right now in the rain. so yeah, just because you give somebody flowers don't mean you building them a statue out front. Knicks fans, calm down. Like my man had a game where he scored 25 and a half. Hey man, give my man his credit because he did that against a top 3 team in the NBA. 25 points in 1/2, right?
No, we lost that game.
But we were giving him his flowers for doing his thing against a top defense, right? But we're not building a statue out front. We're not building he not getting a Jordan like statue in front of MSG for that.
No,
we just giving him his credit. That's all.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is. The Knicks jersey is the heaviest jersey in all professional sports. Not just the NBA, in all professional sports.
Cornerstone, I think I agree with you on that one, man.
Yeah. It is the
a lot
heaviest.
Of weight,
man. And I might be alone on this one, but I think that's the reason why at least recently, a lot of players don't want that burden on it. I don't think LeBron wanted it. I know Kevin didn't want it.
No.
I know Kevin. I know Durant didn't want it. And the list can go on and on and on.
Right.
I think it was a combination of things, man. But really, it starts with one main thing, one factor. When you are a losing team, ain't nobody trying to check for you, man.
That's true.
It's like it's like dating an ugly duckling in school, man. Ain't nobody trying to date that chick.
Nope.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Nobody want her, man. Why you gonna go try to run there? You know what I mean? We the Knicks have been the ugly duckling, man, in the league for a long time, man. Ain't nobody was checking for us.
No,
you know what I mean? Our biggest move right now in the last 20 years have been getting Tom Thibodeau.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Tom Thibodeau, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad I keep saying it, man. I'm glad these other teams was foolish enough to let the guy get away. Because he's the type of coach that'll establish the foundation and he'll stay there and he'll grow old with the team and then he'll have his successor right on the bench with him that can slide right on in and keep that thing going.
Yes, I'll be right back, y'all.
Yep.
I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, that's the kind of dude Tom Thibodeau is, man. When you talking about sustainable winning, man, that he'll actually set you up long term. You know what I mean? For that thing to keep that train to keep going. The same thing.
Hold on one second, guys.
In San Antonio.
I'm with you.
All right. So, hey, the same thing that we seen in San Antonio, GI, man, where when once Pop leaves, they're going to keep that train going is because he done established that base of how they going to play. The next person coming in that doesn't learn from it. Because let's face it, man. I know everybody will say, well, you know, Tibbs ain't Popovich, and that's the easiest thing to say, right? But Tom Thibodeau has established himself as a top 5 coach in this league. And somebody looked up at his winning percentage. It was ridiculous. So it's proven that style that he uses is sustainable, that you can win with it. So if he got somebody on that bench behind him that he been grooming, that learned how to do it, they're going to slide right in and keep the train going. And that's what it's about, man. We want sustainable winning. We don't want no short-term fix.
That's the culture.
Flash in the pan that just shows up and we give them the keys and then they get here and then they choke. Because a lot of that's been going on too.
That's the culture. That's the culture you speak of. The culture is when the Knicks take the floor, you know what you're getting from them. Game after game, year after year, play after player, not much changes. And that's what you're seeing with the other good franchises, even in Miami. I got to give it to Miami. They I don't know what's going on with them this year, but you still trust that they're going to get it together because they have an identity that if they could just get into that identity. I just think they started relying on three-point shooting too much recently. And if the shots ain't falling.
Hey, G.I., I'm listening to you, right? And I'm looking at the chat, too. Danny gets fit with basketball, says, I like man. It's the Knicks, but he's wrong about Rivers. The Rivers has been doing good for the Knicks. I'm going to let you respond to that.
Man. I didn't catch your name, but to the person suggesting that Rivers has given us what we needed, we have had a player that everybody wanted to trade playing at all-star level. He has been the baseline of what you can depend on every night. The young man, RJ Barrett, we said he could not play with them. Great players figure out what's going on the floor. Veteran players see what's going on the floor and play winning basketball. Unless you're going to say that Rivers has been hurt and give him time, but that's not what you said. Rivers cannot figure out how to get on the floor, get into the flow, and present a game where he can be a constant third scorer. We're not even asking Rivers to be a leader, the veteran leader we probably should expect him to be, salary aside, based upon all the winning experience he's come from. He's come from two of the winningest franchises the last 3 years. He's played with some of the best players. He's played with Chris Paul. Chris Paul, all he does is win. Put him in any uniform. He started to get New Orleans. He turned that franchise around to make it sexy for Zion to be there. Rivers is supposed to be bringing something to us that we can depend on night in and night out. He gets the ball. He holds the ball. He dribbles the ball. He does everything you expect a young player with talent to do. Rivers has not figured out playing under Tibbs, as long as he has played under Tibbs now, 2-3 months now, he has not figured out where he fits in this franchise. And I can tell you that him, Burks, and Bullocks have been three of the biggest. In fact, they are the three biggest lets down this year. I don't want to put Rivers out there by himself. So I'm just curious. I wish you could hit the video link before I turn this back over to man to really explain what your position is, because I'm not sure. Respectfully, I get it.
Yeah, and see, a lot of times, when we see stuff written, I know with me, man, I'll get charged up sometime and I'll just go in. That's why I asked you to do it, because when I saw the statement, I was like, okay, is he saying that Austin Rivers is playing good right now? And I was about to get on him, but I said, hey, every now and then, we write stuff, man. We might not fully think it out before we write stuff, and I'm guilty of it sometimes too, man. Hey, I'll admit, I might say things in my feelings, you know what I mean? And then I think back and I look back and say, man, you need to correct that. You know what I mean? And I'll go ahead and do that if you notice that from time to time with me. I can admit when I'm wrong. You know what I mean? We all ain't gonna always be right. But sometimes
that's
some
that grown man. That's that grown man in you.
Hey, G.I., it took a long time to get there, boy. When you're in them 20s, you think everything you say is right. You know what I mean?
But they say he half cock and full of pee.
Yeah. he ain't know but one way, 100 miles an hour. You know what I mean? But Austin Rivers, man, I think what I'm disappointed with Austin Rivers, and this all you need to know really to let you know whether or not Austin Rivers is playing good. The ascension of IQ has demoted Austin Rivers. It has demoted Austin Rivers. I'll say again, the ascension of one Emmanuel Quickley has demoted Austin Rivers. If Austin Rivers was playing the way he's supposed to be playing for this team, you would be seeing less of Emmanuel Quickley. If Emmanuel Quickley wouldn't have taken off the way he's taken off.
I'm gonna go one further, man. If Austin Rivers was playing the way he was supposed to play, with the potential he has, Elf would be on the bench. Rivers would be starting. IQ be coming off the bench, and you'd see none of Peyton.
Absolutely. That's another thing to consider. Because remember the talk was when we first got Austin Rivers, right? And I was one of the people who said it, and I stand by it. When we got Austin Rivers and he got off to that hot start after he came back off that injury, I said if they knew that Austin Rivers was coming here, they would not have signed Alfred Payton. Because the way Austin Rivers was playing, it made you look at like why we got Alfred Payton. You know what I mean? Because at that time, remember, all reports was we were trying to build DSJ up. Tom Thibodeau, that's why we passed on that boy Kyra Lewis, because all the press was saying we was going after Kyra Lewis because they were enamored with him. You know what I mean? They wined and dined him. You know what I mean? Showed him good that everybody was enamored with that kid, and we didn't take him was because they said Tom Thibodeau went down there to North Carolina for an extra week and worked with Dennis Smith Jr. one-on-one. So to your point, man, hey, when you look at all those factors, man, Austin Rivers is opening up the door for somebody else to come. And this is all you need to know too. Coach starting to really snap at him and sitting his butt down too. He's sitting him down. So if Austin Rivers was playing such a great brand of basketball, Captain Hook, shout out to my man Santana, wouldn't been dropping that hook on him and trying to bring him out of the building.
The Burks and Rivers have been resorted to sharing minutes with one another. Two veterans have been resorted to sharing minutes. There's no guaranteed role for either one of them every night. And that on a team that has this young talent. So Mitch is your young man, even though they play different positions. We got Mitch, we depend on more. We got RJ, we depend on more. We got Quickly, we depend on more than two of the most talented guys, high draft picks in the NBA.
Yeah. Hey, there's a lot going on with our team right now, man. And, hey, shout out to Danny Gets with basketball because, hey, he just came back and hit us with a jewel. My man say, I agree, but he is still a valuable asset, but Quickly is better. Exactly. We ain't diminishing him completely. You know what I mean? He's still a valuable asset. He's showing what he can do, and that's the frustrating thing. When you see a veteran play good and then they start doing stuff that you expect from a rookie, that's what frustrates you with him. The same thing with Alfred Payton. You know what I mean? Inconsistencies, you expect that from a 1 year, 2 year player. Not no player that's been in the league 6, 7 years. You know what I mean?
Danny Gets fit. We want you to know here that we are fair with Rivers. And we're not putting him in the boat by himself. You just chose to pick him while we were giving him. We already beat up on Bullock. We already beat up on Burks. Man said it's Rivers' time now because we gave Rivers a little more time. He started the season hurt. If he was starting the season hurt, though, I wish he would have hushed up a little more in training camp because the media, you know, New York, they love a media darling, so they kept sticking the microphone. If I'm a hurt player, I've heard it before, but my man brought it to the forefront. Man, it's the Knicks, and if you haven't subscribed to his podcast. If you haven't checked in and hit the video chat and participated in the chat, what are you waiting for? It's there for you. He comes on about 5 p.m. We got the mornings. He takes the afternoon. Hit that like button. Hit his subscribe. Participate with him. But he has said to us, your best ability is your availability. I've heard it before. It's tad bit cliche, but he brings it home and hits it home as it relates to the New York Knicks, which is the only thing that matters. So if you were not available to play and you were not ready to play, you should have ducked that media. You shouldn't have had so much to say and get our anticipation up about you until you got your game ready. If your game ain't ready, to stay away from them microphones, stay away from them cameras, talk on the court, then get your post-game interview. But Danny, gets fit with basketball. Here is what we are saying right now. We declare and we decree it. If we can get a game and a half every night from Burks, Bullocks, and Rivers, we're going to be a nasty playoff team. We may be a low seed, but that top seed is not going. Oh,
hey,
like, you can't. What, you gonna take a shower? Yeah.
Hey, bro, it's hey, man.
He looked bright up in there, G.I. He looked bright up there, man.
Did he shower?
You look like you fully awake, man. Hey, Freezy, you look like you awoke. You woke, man. Hey, what's up, man?
He took a shower.
I know what he was doing, G.I. And he done got real comfortable. You know what he did? You know when they got them links, them grits and
Yeah.
eggs,
Yeah.
pancakes, waffles.
Look,
Hey, and
Tall
I
glass.
stole his tie, boss.
look. You got a tall glass of OJ, one of them exercise glasses, freshly.
Hey, man. Hey,
So,
yeah,
so what
hey.
we're saying, Danny, is every night, if we can get just a game and a half. So there's 3 players. We're not asking 2 of the 3 to show up. We're saying if the 3 of them can combine their minds and say, let's just give quickly Mitch, RJ, and night in, night out, Julius Randle. That's about to be my name for him. If we could just supplement, we don't have to shine over them. Let's just supplement what they've already established through the first 23 games of the season. We'd already be 4 or 5 games over 500.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks would be the most talked about team in the NBA. We'd be square in the 5 seed. We'd have a record that resembled Brooklyn, if not better. We just need those 3 vets. So until then, Danny gets fit with basketball. Excuse us if we have high expectations when you put that New York Knicks basketball uniform.
Yeah, man. Hey, so I kinda am with y'all like 99%. I just wanna throw a couple of things out there. Right. So I think what we miss when we just look at shooting percentages and the inability to score, I think a few things we miss are things like leadership, you know what I'm saying, and professionalism. I think Austin Rivers and Burks, they bring some of that too. But at the same time,
and I love it.
And you know who else does that? Emmanuel Quickly, which is rare because you don't get that from rookies. Rookies be like, yo, they like, yo, we doing an extra film session today at 3:00. It's optional. Rookies would be like, well, I can't be at 2 places at one time. I got to be at the Ferrari dealership. This is my first time coming into money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This IG chick keep hitting me up out the blue. You know what I'm saying? Y'all talking about film. I need to see what this IG chick talking about. It's the little stuff. Right?
And now they got Big O. Big O is woo.
Oh my goodness, right. And so the vets, they still do it. They just know when to do that stuff. You know what I'm saying? The vets know when the Ferrari shop. You know what I'm saying? They know when to holler at all the chicks and all that stuff. The rookies, when you forget that first check, when that first direct deposit hit, and all you used to $11.50 an hour flipping burgers at Wendy's, you know what I'm saying? You like, and mom be like, you know, when you gonna move me out this double wide? You know what I'm saying?
That lottery check done hit.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
That lottery check just hit.
Yeah, young guys, you know, especially the ones that are unheralded, especially the ones that ain't been paid under the table. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what it's like to get that first check and they got 6 digits in it. You know what I'm saying? They're like, whoa, wait a minute, we set. You know what I'm saying? But for Quickly to be and I'm going by what his coach at Kentucky, Joel, I forget his name, but I saw it on Ian Begley's joint. He said Emmanuel Quickly is salt of the earth. He said it's rare that you see a guy, he's a Christian, you know what I'm saying? The dude is humble, you know what I'm saying? The dude wants to be a good person, and money, basically what he said is money and fame ain't gonna change him. He said this dude Quickly is a leader. You know what I'm saying? This dude's 21, he's a leader, right? He's got that dog in him already, and he wants to win. And he's, you know, he'll go to these guys and talk to them about the game. Like guys is like, hey man, I'm trying to decide what kind of rims I'm gonna get on this Lamborghini. And Quickly is like, hey dog, well, while y'all do that, I'm gonna go back to the gym and work on my free throws. You know what I'm saying? The dude, Joel Justice, that's his name, the assistant coach from Kentucky. He said this kid Quickly is built different. He said the reason why the Knicks drafted him when they did is because he's a culture changer. He's like a culture setter. One of the people that if you want a certain type culture, Quickly was the guy for you, right? He was, the dude is gonna be, the dude has integrity, all of these different things that you want your organization to have on top of the production that you're gonna get on the basketball court, right? So while these guys' shots are not falling, they are providing a certain level of professionalism and leadership. But Quickly is going to do that and produce. It's the reason why, Quickly is kind of like the first guy off the bench, because he's going to bring some levity and some gravitas to the floor when he comes off the bench.
Yeah, I tell you this, man. When and back good points, man. Freezy, man. Appreciate you bringing that information up. But that, it's time in Kentucky. And to your point, you know what type of player Quickly is, the type of person he is. When everybody else going out and buying them Lamborghinis that you talking about and getting them rims, you know what he doing?
Right.
He's still driving that Honda Accord he might have had in college.
Right. Because his mom bought it for him.
Exactly. He put his mindset. Remember, Kawhi Leonard for a long time was still driving the same car.
Yeah.
When he had the money to go out there and spend.
Right.
And so man. But the thing back to Austin Rivers. You know that I'm coming to realize what I think happened, and I gotta shout out my man Danny. Danny again, man. He brought up a point about Alfred Payton, but I'll get to Alfred Payton after I say this. Austin Rivers to me looked like he's trying too hard, man. He's trying too hard.
Right.
He's not allowing the game to just come to him.
Right.
And typically that's what happens when you hit a slump. You know what I mean? People start pressing. I'm going to shoot the next one. It's going to go. And sometimes you need to just fall back, man. Just relax, take a deep breath, and let the game come to you, man. Realize, hey, this ain't my night. Let me do other things. Let me get other people involved, man. Let me play defense.
Right.
You know what I mean? It ain't always about your offense. Sometimes your best offense can be your best defense.
Right.
You know what I mean? Your best offense might be passing the ball to somebody who can get that shot.
Right.
That's where your value comes up in the league. But Austin Rivers right now is in a terrible slump. I ain't gonna kill him completely because I've seen what he can do. Right. You know what I mean? And back to Alfred Payton, what Danny had said in the chat. I saw he said, about him being 8-3 when he scored, I think see that's the frustrating thing with Alfred Payton. We done had him for a whole year. You know what I mean? This is what we've seen since he's been there. Up and down play. And I stand by this. Until the Knicks get consistency at that point guard position, we're going to continue to be on this up and down roller coaster with our win percentage. We're going to win a few, we're going to lose a few.
Before Mo jump in and get busy this morning, let me say this. Very important to because I love that stat about Elf. And I've said when he plays well, we win. The only problem is it's on small guards. Anytime Elf gets a small guard on him, he's going to take him all the way to the rim and bully the heck out of him. And then that changes the game. I need Elf to be able to do that no matter what guard is in front of him. And so go back and check the stats on that 8-3, on those 8 wins. Look at the size of the guard that was sticking him. And look how many.
Hey, you know who else does that? Frank Ntilikina. Frank Ntilikina will show up one random game, and then you won't see him again for 7 games. And it's frustrating. You know what I'm saying? You like, Frank, how you going to dunk on Rudy Gobert, right? And then the next night, you playing against Thomas Bryant, and you won't do nothing. How does Thomas Bryant intimidate you, but you dunked on Rudy Gobert? You know what I mean? I mean, some of the stuff is well, you know what? I ain't gonna get into the Frank thing.
I feel like what's going on with you, man?
Good morning, guys. I hope everyone's doing well.
Top of the morning.
I think Rudy let Frank dunk on him.
Oh, that's what you came in here with?
I think so.
You woke up early on a Friday for that.
No, but like that's his countryman. Like that's
Looking
what
up
I'm
his
doing.
homeboy.
If my bro is struggling, I'm at the top. I'm the defensive player of the year. I could give my bro a highlight that we still talking about. I'll do it.
Man,
I mean, come on. I think it's possible. Because who else is Frank dunking on?
He tried to get KP. Oh, I forgot, Mo, before you get totally into your thing, man. Hey, shout out to them Dallas Mavericks, man. You know what I mean? Y'all remember y'all working for us this year. Keep up the good work.
Yes.
Keep up the good work. Shout out to Carlisle. Shout out to Mark Cuban. Hey, Porzingis, we still love you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep rocking, Mo.
Yeah, man.
Austin Rivers, man, that's a very interesting conversation because, like, honestly, my thing about Austin Rivers is he had this mixtape like 9 years ago when he was in high school before he went into Duke, like, and it was like Austin Rivers, best player in the nation, and it was just him cooking the whole country, and I think he still has that image of himself. He still thinks of himself as that. Wow.
FIBA Frank?
No, I'm talking about Austin Rivers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like the NBA has moved past like the idea of Austin Rivers being like an all-star player or even like I don't know. I thought he would be a starter this year, but like it's very disappointing to see him like just continue to play the way that he plays because he's just like it's like a black hole. Like when he gets the ball, like he's looking for his shot. He's just looking for his own like offense. And he's
a triangle.
Like I don't see him. When does he pass the ball? Like so. No, I completely agree. And I think it's like it has to do with also like in his head. Like I got nothing to lose. Like if I'm out the league because of the way I'm playing, the way I like interact with like my teammates, it doesn't matter because I'm Austin Rivers. I'm the son of Doc Rivers. I can, get a coaching job anywhere. He has nothing to lose. Like he just acts the way he wants to. But like a guy like Obi or like, Manuel quickly has a little bit more to lose, So like Rivers is who he is. Like, and that's just what it is. Like he is who he is. So yeah, that's what I got.
Hey, shout out to Danny Griffin. I'm sorry, y'all.
Go ahead.
Oh, so I want to shout out the chat, man. It's a bunch of people jumped in.
Yeah.
Professional Outfit was good. It's me. What's good? L Jordan. Was good. Staffer Don. What is good? Bodega Wi-Fi in the building. What's good? Hinton Murphy. What's happening? Hey, Hinton Murphy. That name sounds familiar. Hinton Murphy, that name sounds familiar. Do we know you?
Hinton, be careful. I think Freezy trying to say you owe him money.
Basically. No, I'm just.
Hey, Sherwin. Sherwin, I agree with you. As far as I'm concerned, we still together, bro. Elfrid Payton is my starting point guard on this team. I'm not ready to start quickly, especially now that Freezy and me on the same page. Is that Quickly's most important asset to this team is just scoring off the bench. I can't lose that scoring off the bench right now. So we still on the same page. I'm just saying when Elfrid gets a small guard in front of him, he goes bananas. I want him to have that same confidence every night. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, so Danny Griffin said I look like so Uncle Freezy is looking like he just got out the bin.
That's a fact.
What you talking about?
Come on, the beanie and the white.
You giving us a lot of wife beater, bro. You're giving us a lot of wife beater. I got on me and Mo got on sweatshirts with hoodies.
Right.
I'm in South Carolina, dog.
And you up here the wife beater, bro. You up here, I'm ready to let you like I ain't that small, y'all.
Man. I'm in South Carolina. Hey, Ron, tell him we in South Carolina, man. What's happening?
The weather's good here, man.
It ain't 2 degrees down here. That's all I'm saying.
It was 50 degrees here yesterday.
Yeah, and my dog. Did I tell you that my dog has a girlfriend next door?
Staying out late, huh?
Yeah. So my dog is like every time she go outside, he look at me like I'm a hater. Like my dog is legit looking at me like I'm trying to mess up their relationship. You know what I'm saying? So he like when she come outside, she started barking or whatever. And then he comes straight in here and look at me like, bro, I know you hear her barking. And I'm like, but Jonathan Macri is on. And he like, who is Macri? He don't even care. He just want to go outside. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, things are what they are, man. Hey, shout out to Gaston, because at least he's a one dog. Shout out to Gaston.
Oh, Freezy, I gotta say, like, the interview today was amazing.
That was all Macri. That was all Macri, man.
So Macri, like, for me, like, he was my favorite content creator before you. So, like, to see you two, like, interacting, was really cool. So I really enjoyed that, and I love that.
I appreciate that, man.
He wants to be like, monthly and stuff. That's awesome.
Hey, Mo, don't be trying to gas Freezy up for your competition tomorrow, yo. I don't need you being nice. I need you in kill mode. Don't be. I feel like pre-fight Mo. I need pre-fight Mo.
We're gonna bring that out for the fight, but right now it's politician mode.
Freezy, you got another battle going on tomorrow, man?
Yeah, I think we got so we have we got a lot of things going on for tomorrow. So first of all, the Knicks play at 1:00.
Yeah, early game. Game. So we should get that one.
And then all of y'all gonna be on tomorrow. So I'm checking for all of that tomorrow. And then what I'm thinking about doing is coming on a little bit earlier, so that I can get some of these competitions out the way. Yeah. And then so that we can do the Knicks at Night podcast. Because, you know what I'm saying, and do the Knicks at Night podcast and maybe calling it, maybe let Foxy do it till about 2:00, and then we call it from there. So, but yeah, tomorrow's gonna be a big day, man. A lot of stuff on the line tomorrow. We got to get back against Portland, because Portland was like, whew, I'm glad we got them, because the breaks they got every break in the world down the stretch.
The biggest break they got was they couldn't miss.
Well,
they couldn't miss, and our defense was terrible.
And we still reeled them in. We still took a 25-point lead all the way down to 3 with 3 minutes left to go in the game. And they was beating us by 25. Yep. So.
And they had the refs on their side too.
And they had the refs on their side.
Definitely.
That was the main thing I was talking about. The refs on their side down the stretch.
I tell you what, I would love to see somebody look up a stat on Tom Thibodeau, second time around playing a team that he lost to.
Right.
What's his win percentage?
Right. Real high, Ron.
Because I know he's gonna have some major adjustments for this game coming up. Because of the importance, when you look at that standing this morning, man, we right there, man. All we got to do is win a couple games in a row.
Yeah,
and we're shooting up, because a lot of them teams lost ahead of us, man. Right now, the Knicks sitting in the 9th seed, and everybody pretty much bunched up together, either separated by like a win or a loss, or maybe a loss and a half. Like, everybody's just bunched up, and if y'all notice, Indiana's starting to look a little sluggish now too.
Right.
Don't forget 1 p.m. game tomorrow. 1 p.m. game.
And Dame Lillard has an abdominal strain.
Oh.
Yep.
He probably won't play.
Yep.
I doubt he plays with that.
Especially a 1:00 game. That don't give him another 5 hours to recover. That's big.
We're a half game behind the 6th spot. We're a half game away from the 6th spot. Like, the Hornets are in the 6th spot right now. Like, this is a very important game, and we're very fortunate to have like Damian Lillard possibly be out.
Revenge. Yeah, I know y'all want to say something there, but I'm here to tell you that this game tomorrow is another game on the revenge tour, right? Mm-hmm. Another game on the revenge tour, because the Chicago Bulls beat us because a dude that averaged 19 points a game actually scored 30, right? Yeah, he scored 30 points a game, and so it's not his fault. The Knicks couldn't stop him. You know what I'm saying? But the Knicks scored 102 when the league average is 110. The Bulls scored 110. If we'd scored league average, we'd have won that game yesterday. I mean, for the first game against the Bulls.
And I tell you what, there was a Chicago fan and he's a Knicks fan, Chicago and Knicks fan. But he was telling me about Lauri Markkanen, man. He said Lauri Markkanen is inconsistent. He'll have a great game, and then he'll then he'll disappear.
Right.
And boy, my goodness, if that wasn't the truth with these
Right.
two games, I mean, it was like a light switch from light to dark with him. I mean, hey, you go for 30-something in the first game, looked like you could have went for 40 or 50 if your coach didn't pull you, and then you come back and follow that up with 9 points.
Right. Right. No doubt.
Man. The Knicks fan the Chicago fan didn't come back the next day, did he? Huh?
No, he didn't come back. As a matter of fact, yeah, he did. He sure didn't come back the next day. I was trying to figure out if he came back after the 30-something point performance.
Okay.
I think he did on that performance, but he definitely didn't show up in that nine point performance.
Yeah, he showed up after the 30-point joint. He ain't show up the next no more after that.
Right.
But he was right on. That's the kind of stuff, man. Inconsistent play, man. That's what drive you crazy, man. When you see a player perform and then all of a sudden, I mean, just we know you ain't gonna have 30-point games all the time. Like even with Alfred Payton, man, I think the most frustrating part with him is you see times when he does this. Man, if he could give me just 12 points a game, I'm happy.
Right. Consistently, though.
Yeah, every game. Give me 12 points.
Right.
Give me 12 points and give me at least 5 to 6 assists.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you don't get that from it.
You get highs and lows, highs and lows, highs and lows, highs and lows.
What he need to do is just go and just continue to work on his shooting. In the offseason, just work on that shooting, man. Because if he could ever become consistent, because he ain't old, you know what I mean? He's still relatively young.
I don't want him back. It was too much.
I don't want him back, but I mean, I just want him to. Hey, just go ahead, man. If you want to stick in this league and don't bounce around from team to team, get a consistent jump shot because he plays defense. You know what I mean? But hey.
Oh my God, I could care less about Alfred Payton, but it's like you like the first thing you think about Alfred Payton is his defense, really, because he was a defensive player of the year in college, and you watch him play defense, and it's like there's some kind of edge that he's missing. Like with every like great defensive player,
man, they compared that dude to Gary Payton coming out.
Exactly, like the Bruce Bowen of the world. If you watch like Shane Battier, like those guys when they play defense, they're engaged. Like you can see like their heads are in the game and their energy is like always up. Alfred is like a dud when you watch him play defense. He knows what he's doing, but like he's like kind of like a half a step slow sometimes.
Lazy.
Yeah, exactly. So let's move on from that guy.
Yeah.
But what gets me though is the dude. So the dude plays at a slow pace, but has a Flash tattoo. The dude has Flash tattooed on his arm and runs the slowest offense.
Well, you know which Flash that is. That's the Flash from back in the days, the one we used to watch, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's how he moved, like that Flash, the old Flash.
He needs to grow his hair back.
Not the new Flash. He's in slow motion, man.
Right, you crazy. see, chat. That's why I'm always distracted right there. Y'all been like freezy drifting. I'm not drifting. I'm just getting distracted, man. Like I have something I want to talk about, and then somebody just distract Ron. It's his fault. Don't be blaming that on me.
Hey, I needed that one, man. The Flash. Somebody said that the other day. I still don't believe it, man. I know he don't have no Flash on his arm.
Yes, and it's a big Flash tattoo.
That's crazy.
It like come up his whole bicep. Yeah.
Sorry, Freeze. I still can't let you off the hook. CP the artist said you got your Joe Budden loving hip hop wife beat up.
Oh, CP, come on, man.
Nice.
Come on, CP, man. Hey, man, I'm in South Carolina. Hey, my dog wanted to go outside, man. You know what I'm saying? Man, look, it's just. Hey, at the end of the day, I'm a family man first, and I mean for the whole family. So that's just what it is. So if he say I got a white beater on, man, it's a white beater. Whatever. But so, how are y'all prospects on RJ Barrett the rest of the season?
I'm loving what I'm seeing from RJ, man. And I heard somebody last night because I was listening to your show last night, Freezy. That kid Buds. You notice I ain't saying nothing, right?
If you can't say nothing good, don't say anything. Right, I got you.
I'm at a loss for words for some of the stuff I heard last night. That's all I'm going to say. I was at a loss for words at some of them things I heard him say last night.
And so I was in and out to stir it up, to stir it up. It's it is how because what you'd like to do in a perfect world, have somebody come on and they say something that's been on their mind and it be thought-provoking. But sometimes you allow people to come on and they say something and it automatically rubs everybody the wrong way. And then you like, well, do you kick this dude out of video chat or do you just, allow them to rock and maybe elaborate on it? And
wait, was it that bad?
Man,
I'm gonna tell you, just watch the footage. Everybody watch the footage.
What I heard him say was that RJ Barrett is not a shot creator. He doesn't know how to create his own shot.
He said RJ Barrett. He said RJ Barrett couldn't get to the rim. RJ Barrett doesn't get to the basket. Yeah, he couldn't get by Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah, you don't watch basketball, bro.
And so we were like, what? The one thing RJ Barrett does do is get to the basket. Now, he don't always finish.
But he
don't always finish, but he can get there.
He has one of the top Euros in the game. Yeah. He has one of the top Euro steps in the game.
Exactly.
One of the strongest of the top. You take, first of all, his class, outside of Zion, he's probably one of the strongest players in his class. The boy is a bull.
Yeah. Pound for pound, yes, sir. Pound for pound.
Ask Oladipo if he can't get to the basket.
Woo!
Yes. If he don't get his own shot.
and I'm here to tell you, if that female ref that looked like Lisa Stansfield didn't have it out against RJ Barrett would have scored 40. Y'all remember the chick, the female ref, the one that looked like Lisa Stansfield?
Yeah, because she was calling some terrible stuff. Terrible.
First of all, she got the 2 quick calls on RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett was about to wave at Oladipo. She called a foul on RJ Barrett before he could wave at Oladipo, right? And both of them stopped like, what was that? Right? And Oladipo wound up shooting like 8 free throws or something like in the first half or something. And my man wasn't even touched by RJ. And so we like, come on, you can't. Oladipo is getting Jordan calls right now. Right? So we like, what's going on? This is crazy. Like it legit looked like she had an axe to grind against RJ Barrett. Right? And you hate to say referees have an axe to grind against certain players, but sometimes you see it like the Portland game with Julius Randle. Come on, y'all.
Oh yeah, they beat Julius Randle up.
Come on, y'all, man.
They beat him up. I think it's hard for referees to officiate him, just like LeBron officiating LeBron and officiating Shaq, man.
Right.
Those guys so big and strong, man. They let them guys take a lot more beating than the average player. But
right. It's like when we play basketball with Mo. Mo get all the calls. They be giving all the pretty boys all the calls because they got new sneakers and fancy shorts on. We all ballers out here.
I play defense.
But I tell you this, so. But RJ, to your original question about RJ, man, his progression is short of amazing, man. Again, let's add up all the factors this year for this dude, man. Even going back to last year, we know. Let's start off with the situation. Terrible situation that any draft pick could get drafted into. With that front office, with that coaching staff, the guy still performed last year. I think he averaged what was it? 14?
Yep.
Yeah, average. Yeah, 14. Yeah.
And so after that happens, the season get cut short. 52 games in. Now we got the COVID stuff. Right. You get a new coach, and the preseason is cut short.
Yep.
Now you come in and you get more players brought in, and so when I look at that, to look at what he's doing the guy ain't technically in his second season, even though
starting.
For numbers,
probably about 1 or 2 games into his second season.
Yeah, just hit a whole year basically. And to look at what he's doing, man, Freezy, I'm more than happy. And I'm gonna tell you my prediction. You remember? I don't know if you remember me telling Chuck this. I said when it's all said and done, we're gonna look at RJ's career and we're gonna look at Ben Simmons' career. And RJ will have the better career, and I stand by that today, as I did the first day I said it. And I'm gonna stick with it because one thing Ben Simmons will never be able to do, he will never have. I'll go on record right now. He'll never have a game where he'll put up 35. He'll never have one of those games.
No.
RJ gonna have one of those games sooner than you think. At an earlier point in his career. RJ gonna have the better career than Ben Simmons, man. I'm telling you. I'm talking the whole totality. I'm talking everything. I'm talking championship because you know they factor that in with this generation of fans. Ben Simmons will never be consistent, man. A consistent shooter, and that's my biggest problem with him. All the other stuff he does, I love. Great defender, rebounder, can pass.
Right.
But if you can't shoot, I got a problem with that, man. Your job, I got a problem with that. And that's why Philly will never win with him. They will never win with him.
Before you go, Mo, because I know you're going to be a little controversial. I'm going to be quick.
Yeah, okay.
If I'm Philly, I'm getting that bill for Simmons deal done ASAP.
They better.
I am getting it done immediately. My bad, Mo.
Okay, so I disagree because I think Ben Simmons is a better all-around player and will always be a better all-around player than RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett is a good defender, but Ben Simmons is like a great defender. Like he's like one of those type of guys that he might win a defensive player of the year. Like his physical tools, like he's 6'10", like 250, something like that. I might be overweighing him, but he's 6'10" and he like moves like that, and he has the vision and like the way better handle than RJ does, like, and way better athletic ability than RJ. Like I think RJ is gonna end his career like maybe like one notch below Ben Simmons, but like I love RJ and I love the progression that he's had this year. Like I like the fact that he's shooting his free throws better. I like the fact
you must be new where I was getting ready to come at.
What's that?
Yes, you must be new where I was getting ready to come at because I left that off too. Ben Simmons can't shoot free throws, and I don't care. I don't care how great of a player you are. You can't shoot free throws. I got a problem with that. I got a problem with that. That was my biggest problem with RJ. Free throws, and he done turned that around. So keep going. You're gonna keep proving the point for RJ. Because Ben Simmons, I don't think will ever be gonna be no more than what he is.
So
can I ask this question?
He done hit his ceiling, man. Ben Simmons has already hit his ceiling.
That's what I was gonna say, Mo. Can you?
Think
yeah.
Ceiling?
That's where. That's
a
a better discussion, Mo. Who has more upside today?
Ben Simmons is 24.
I'm asking. So I'm gonna ask you the question.
Okay.
Who has more upside? RJ or Ben Simmons, and then you'll understand more what Ron is saying.
So, like, okay, so what I'm saying is that Ben Simmons is playing with a player in Joel Embiid who dominates where Ben Simmons is supposed to be eating right now. Like, if Ben Simmons goes to a team by himself, goes to a team like the Wizards, say the Wizards. What's up, Freezy? What are you?
Okay, I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Finish your thought, Mo.
No, but like if Ben Simmons goes to a team by himself, he's gonna score a lot more points. Like if he goes to a team where he doesn't have a player like Joel Embiid next to him, he's gonna score a lot more points in the paint. And he's gonna figure out how to shoot the ball. Like he's only 24 years old. RJ Barrett's ceiling, like at best, like right now, like he doesn't have. I love RJ. I'm a Barrettier. Like seriously.
So Mo,
RJ right now. One second, Jeff. RJ right now, his moves, like he's not where he needs to be in terms of like off the dribble, like creating off of the dribble, like wiggle moves, like crossover moves, like he's not where he needs to be when it comes to the other like guards.
So Mo, I asked the question
of the league.
I don't want to cut you off, but if we're gonna have a conversation and you submit to my question, I just will respectfully ask you to answer
the question.
Who has more upside? Because you started talking about if he was over here, if he was over there,
and Joel Embiid is in the play.
Blah, blah, blah. And the question simply is, who has more upside? And I also then want to respond to your Ben Simmons shooting question. I want to respond to that statement you made about he's going to learn how to shoot. But let's take it piece by piece. Who has more upside today?
Ben Simmons, I think, definitely has more upside, without a doubt.
Okay. And then let me ask you a question. Ben Simmons has been on the precipice of winning at a high level. Ben Simmons knows his man, Joel Embiid, needs to get the ball around the rim. He's unstoppable. In order for Joel Embiid to get the ball around the rim, the number 2 man with the ball in his hands is him. So the further that Ben Simmons plays away from the rim, and the closer that you can't have a better mix. But if Ben Simmons, the further he is away from the rim, the more guardable he is. They want, in fact, he is not
Say that again, Coach. Say that again. That's
the
what you just
further
dropped.
Ben Simmons is away from the rim, the more guardable he is. You got to at least give Elton Payton a pat on the back. He'll shoot the 3 if you give it to him. He probably shoots at the same percentage Ben Simmons was. Ben
Lord
Simmons
have mercy.
won't even put the ball in the air, and he's going to dribble around. The shot clock is only 20. I will play the Sixers in zone if I'm the Lakers, if I'm the Brooklyn, and if I'm Celtics, and I will beat the Sixers every time in 7 games with Ben Simmons. So I
beat him in 5.
Wait, so
all you gotta do is run the 3-2 zone.
Hold on. RJ isn't a proven shooter yet. RJ shoots the ball at a way higher volume that Ben Simmons has ever shot.
Ben don't even
and he's
shoot.
not
That's
a proven
what the man
shooter.
is
So
telling
why
you,
are we making the argument?
You missing it. He won't take the shot. The same thing we say about Frank.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
That's
what I'm saying is that what I'm saying is that it's ridiculous that Ben's not going to start taking that shot later on in his career.
Mo, he's on a winning team now. He's on a winning team now.
How long he's been in the league?
He's been in the league like 4 years.
And still not shooting more. Come on, man.
Yeah, Ben Simmons been in
you
are.
But if you think about a guy like LeBron,
5 years,
LeBron shot threes way more. Like this is a different scale. Like Simmons is a little ridiculous how much he hasn't shot the 3, but like a guy like LeBron has completely changed his game to a guy like where you expect him to be shooting threes so many times a game. So why can't he change his game?
You can't do that.
What?
You can't compare somebody who will shoot the 3 to somebody who won't shoot it.
Ben's gonna stop shooting,
and then he don't shoot free throws. Like, RJ tried to do everything. He's willing to work at every facet of his game. Ben Simmons doesn't do that.
Yeah, but he's not going to be. You think that Ben Simmons, Ron? So you think that Ben Simmons is going to be a better RJ Barrett's a better facilitator than Ben Simmons?
I'm not saying that. You're missing the point. I ain't saying that. I didn't told you what the man is great at. He's great at passing. He's great at rebounding and playing defense.
Yeah.
But the name of the game of basketball is putting the ball in the hoop. He don't shoot.
Yeah.
He don't shoot. He's limited.
Hey, y'all. So
RJ is not limited in his game.
Right. Hey,
he's not limited.
Right. I got you. We got you. So I'm gonna hang out for like 5 more minutes. So I got some errands to run with Mom Dukes and stuff. Just real quick, man. So if y'all got some final shots I want to throw in, man, I want to just go over those.
First of all, Mo, I want to get you prepared for your debate tomorrow. Now, the chat's gonna vote the way they chat. But if you're discussing, if the question comes to you as who's gonna have more upside, You got to keep it between Ben Simmons and RJ Barrett. To say what LeBron James does was a moot point. I promise you. I will drill that home on you every night. LeBron James is moot to this situation. The next thing is, in order for Philly to facilitate Ben Simmons, they have to take the best dominant big man in the NBA and pull him away from the rim, so Ben Simmons can be more in the baseline. So in order for Ben Simmons to be his best player, you have to take Joel Embiid out to let him shoot threes. That is a 100% deterrent on Ben Simmons. Shame on him. And for you to say, and this is my last 30 seconds, not even 30 seconds, for you to say he will shoot and to not figure it out but be hanging out, and I'm going to take a cheap shot, but he's hanging out with the Kardashians every other weekend, but he's not, but his jump shot ain't getting there because you don't hear what you hear about RJ is his pedigree. This is why we're telling you he's going to get better, because he don't get caught up in any foolishness. He works on his game. And Ben Simmons is a great player, but for his team to be on the press of winning a championship and he hasn't improved the one skill set that's stopping him, shame on Ben Simmons. I'm shutting up.
From being great, I'm talking MVP. If that kid can get a shot, Mo, it's the same thing I've been saying about Giannis. Giannis, great coming to the basket, but you know if you stop that, pretty much Milwaukee is done. So that's why they got them shooters around him. If you notice something, Philly has fallen off the cliff ever since they got rid of J.J. Redick, Covington, and these other guys that they had. They had some shooters around Ben Simmons, you know what I mean, to protect him because he wouldn't shoot. But when you still not shooting, man, you holding yourself back, and it's really a shame. He's cheating himself, really. If that kid was to shoot the ball, man, at least Giannis attempts to shoot. But this dude is not attempting to shoot, man, and he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. But when I look at when I say the fact that I'm looking at their career when it's over, I'm basing it on what I'm seeing and of both of these players. I'm seeing one that's willing to work on his game to get better in every asset, and the other one ain't. And there's a lot of players who have potential, and they don't ever be no more than what their potential is. That's all I'm saying, man. The kid is good now. Don't get me wrong. I love his game. But if them free throws can come up and he get a jump shot, you won't have me say nothing. Because free throws is definitely a pet peeve with me.
Right.
What I'll say, like to finish off, is Ben Simmons. Like when we talk about upside, right? We talk about like we look at like the athletic ability of a player and the ability of a player to be dynamic in the game. It's a fact. Like when you see like an athletic guy, you on the court, say that guy has a lot of upside. He has the ability to do a lot of things on that basketball court. And Ben Simmons can do way more things on the basketball court than RJ Barrett can. That's just a fact. Like forget about the fact that even with the fact that Ben Simmons isn't, doing what we want him to do with his jump shot, we're still like talking about him as like a great star, a mega star in this league. Like he's a number 2 guy in a championship contender without any of that. RJ is not that, and I don't know if he'll ever be a number 2 guy.
Hey, so what you're saying is 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish, is what you just said, Mo. Because what you said the same thing, man. It's for like so we get what you're saying, the athleticism and all these things that RJ Barrett can't possibly get because some of it is God-given, right? That's what you said, right? For Ben Simmons.
Yeah, definitely that passing ability.
All right, and so what I'm saying is I get what you're saying.
And we can't make RJ 7 feet. We can't grow him to 7 feet.
Yeah, so right. And we can't make RJ Barrett a top 10 athlete in the league. You know what I'm saying? There are certain things but when it comes to certain skills and wanting to develop certain areas, you have to give the advantage to RJ Barrett.
Just because you want to doesn't mean you're better. Just because you want to be better doesn't mean you're like some people just have it. And Ben Simmons is one of those people that like he has it. And like Ben, so the thing is, like, would you rather start your team with Ben Simmons or RJ Barrett? Most people would say Ben Simmons. That's just
Depends what I had around him.
But and what you also left out is you're comparing year 5 Ben Simmons to year 2 RJ Barrett.
Not even a full year 2 yet.
Right. Yeah. And RJ Barrett has only played 40 plus 60, 100 games, right? And Ben Simmons has played in upward of 400 games if you include playoffs, right?
All the way to the Eastern Conference Championship.
Right. And so what I'll say to that is when you look at RJ Barrett's numbers across the board, everything has increased except his 3-point shooting. And you may even say he's gotten better doing that if you take out that 0 for 21 stretch.
Especially from that wing. That wing 3-pointer, he's shooting that real good.
Right. So
I think what's made him better is shooting the 3 less. So I think we got to think about that. Like
what's making Ben Simmons great at his 3-point shot is he never takes them.
Right. So so that's what I'm saying.
Maybe Ben Simmons is always ahead of RJ.
Well, see that we're getting back to 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. And for those that don't know, that's Dr. Seuss. When dudes say, whatever. And no disrespect to Mo. But I had to invoke a quote from the great American poet Dr. Seuss. 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish.
Can I add one more thing, please?
All right.
Real quick. Mo, I just want you to think about this. You said someone's upside depends on their athletic ability. And
not totally, but it's important.
Well, it's what you said earlier now. So I'm going to respond to what you said earlier.
Sure.
You said because he's more athletic, and I'm telling you that could not be furthest from the truth. Larry Bird was one of the most least athletic superstars, top 50 players in this league. And he worked, and he outsmarted. I'm telling you where RJ is going with his IQ, with his ability to work, that's the very thing that drives his upside. And Ben Simmons, being an athletic freak out of the birth of his mother's womb, won't work at it. So
and so who would you rather
upside?
So who would you rather have, Luka Doncic or Ben Simmons? Luka Doncic is not as athletic as RJ Barrett.
Yeah, but Luka, RJ's never going to be able to shoot as well as Luka. Never.
So that was a setup. That's what we call a setup.
I know what you did, Freezy. You got it.
That is what we call a setup, because I wanted you to. What I wanted you to do is say that Luka's shooting numbers are better than RJ's.
He got you with that.
So the thing is, one guy is an excellent facilitator and takes more shots than the other, right? So it looks as if he's a better shooter. Now he might be a better scorer right now, but you still have to look at where these guys are in their careers. But to say Luka is a better shooter, I'm just gonna pull up. I'm gonna pull up the numbers real quick, just so.
If Freezy, while you pull that up, Dan, I believe he pronounced his last name.
Wait, what are you saying? Are you saying that Luka is not a better shooter? What are you saying, Freezy?
Hey, hold on, Mo. I got something that somebody wanted to tell you, man. And this was a profound statement. It's right along with what G.I. just said. I believe his last name is Alstonot. Dan says, hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard.
Bam. And so your man Luka Doncic, for his career, is shooting 44% from the floor, right? So this year he's shooting 29% from 3, right? And he's shooting 78 and 79% from the free throw line. So while those numbers don't jump out and wow you, they are comparable to a young Rowan Barrett Jr.
Mr.
They're not comparable. They're not comparable, Freezy, because RJ Barrett will never be allowed to shoot as many threes as Luka does.
But no. I know Mo. See now we moving the goalposts. You said he won't be able to shoot as much as Luka. but I didn't give you shot attempts. I gave you shot percentages.
No, I know, but like Luka is shooting more shots, and as a result, he's shooting less. He's making his percentages are lower. That's right. So that's what's going on. RJ Barrett, if RJ Barrett were to shoot as many shots as Luka, he'd probably be shooting 14%. Like he wouldn't be shooting like RJ Barrett is just not a comparable shooter to Luka. So when we talk about just like you tell me, when we're talking about Ben Simmons, don't bring in LeBron James. When we're talking about RJ Barrett, don't bring in Luka Doncic. That's two different classes.
No, see that again we moving the goalposts because it wasn't we weren't talking about players. We were talking about athleticism. You mentioned athleticism, and Ron said and Gia said, out of the womb, Ben Simmons was it Ron or Gia? I think Gia said it.
I think Gia.
It said out of the womb, Ben Simmons was a better athlete, and so we were referencing athleticism.
Yeah, you can't teach that.
Right.
Either you got it or you don't. Hard work and effort you can't teach.
Right. And
honestly, Luka Doncic just shouldn't be in this conversation, because when I was talking about shooting, I brought up LeBron James. We can't make that comment. We can't have
but
that.
Like I told you, LeBron James at least attempted to shoot. Ben Simmons won't even shoot a mid-range shot.
Right. And so
that's another so more you lost the debate, man.
I'm not ganging up on Mo.
I'm going up against the three OGs. Like I'm not.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
I'm saying what I gotta say. I'm saying what I gotta say, and whatever the chat thinks is whatever the chat thinks. Whatever you think, Ron, is whatever you think. So you say I lost the debate. You say I lost the debate.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
that's the beautiful thing, man.
I know I made points. I made points that were better than yours. You made points that were better than mine.
I love your mindset, because you're right. Absolutely. When you talk about the passing, I'm gonna give you your credit now, because that's what men do. You know what I mean?
Right.
You made your point when you talked about that athleticism, the ability to pass the ball, and even something that RJ does good at getting to the basket. Ben Simmons is better at that. But this is where RJ gets it.
Right.
Free throws, jump shots.
Yep. And for those that don't know,
won't even attempt
right,
a shot. I would give.
And RJ Barrett shot league average in the month of February from 3. By the way, for those that didn't know.
And the other part you miss, Mo, is I'll be honest. I haze. My fraternity, we try to figure out how to break people mentally over physically, right? So I already set you up when I said, who has the better upside? And you immediately put athletic ability as the basis for the upside. When Ben Simmons came in this league, Ben Simmons is the same player he was his rookie year as he is in year 5.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Exactly.
RJ is not going to look the same in year 5. And that's where your basis for your argument was weakened big time.
And hey, so Devon, the dude that usually snipes at Mo, right? Devon is the dude is the young G that sees Mo as being in the way to his rise to the top. Came to Mo's defense. He said, "Y'all OGs ain't gonna jump my brother Mo. Lucky I'm in class right now." Hey man, I'm here to tell you, Devon, that you lucky you in class right now.
No, Devon's right.
Get that knowledge, bro.
I have 3 minds coming at me against one. It is kind of like a hazing. That's what it feels like.
Nah. So you heard what I told Devon. I said, Devon, you lucky you in class right now. Get that knowledge, young fella. So you don't get what I said just now. But when you turn about 40 or 50, you'll understand what I said just now. Because Devon said, you lucky I'm.
You know what? You know how we gonna end this thing, Mo? I'm gonna tell you like this.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to take and put RJ's, if you were to give RJ Ben Simmons athleticism, or vice versa, or vice versa, if you were to give Ben Simmons, RJ's work ethic. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Magic Johnson. You got Magic Johnson.
Exactly, man.
All I'm saying is when is RJ making his All-Star game?
Next
Like
year. Next year, I guarantee it. Book it.
When did Ben Simmons make his All-Star game?
That's a good question.
Somebody
Look it up in the chat, please.
Well, and you got to be careful giving RJ. Don't forget what's going on in Brooklyn. Don't forget what's going on, and so you still got Giannis. The East, while the West has better teams, the East has pure better athletes in it. So it might be a little tougher for RJ, but as long as he's putting up All-Star level numbers.
Even as a reserve, I think the coaches will vote him in. If he putting up them numbers, the coaches will put him in, not as a starter, but as a reserve. Because I think ultimately that's what might happen to Julius, unless we go on a run and get so high in the playoff standings that they have to say, hey, we can't keep this guy out as a starter.
Right, and Ben Simmons made his did y'all know Ben Simmons is listed at 6'11", 240?
And young Rowan is how tall?
6'6", 210.
Exactly the GI point. You can't teach athletics. You can't teach size, man. You can't teach that.
Simmons is a 2-time All-Star. I don't know if RJ is going to make 2. RJ is going to be lucky to make 1.
I think he'll definitely make 2 before he's all over said and done with.
I hope so. I pray so. Because, like, this is the thing. We're talking about Ben Simmons. We're talking about his stats. We're talking about his shooting. But what he's considered by his peers and the coaches as one of the elite players in the league, despite all of these things. So, like, when will RJ ever be? Like, RJ isn't that right now. And even if RJ gets a jump shot, I don't think he'll be considered on the same level as Ben Simmons is right now. And Ben Simmons can still get a jump shot. That's why Ben Simmons has a bigger upside, which is the original.
Well, I got to clap back at that, though, and ask those same teams, who would they prefer to play in the championship game? Out of all the top 5, 6 teams, they're going to say, give me Philadelphia, because we only got to then make what you call it, shoot threes. We're going to foul Ben Simmons down the stretch. So while Ben Simmons is considered one of the elite athletes, he's also of the best, the easiest to beat.
So Lawrence Mayberry, thanks for the super chat.
Shout out
to Lawrence. Yeah, so LT says, morning, fellas. Thanks again for the therapy session. Mo, don't back down so easy. I got your YG, LOL. All right, okay. All right. I mean, things are what they are with that, man. I gotta bounce though. I got some stuff that I gotta take care of, man. But make sure y'all check out the Knicks at Night podcast tonight. The Knicks Morning Drive, first thing in the morning. CP the artist says Mo has a man crush on Ben Simmons. All right, y'all. Hey, I'm out of here.
Okay.
Hey,